Hello and welcome back to the Elite Challenge. Last time out we had several competitors get through to the second stage, but ultimately the tournament ended there, with Smokey Massacre and Sonic Fan both getting halfway through the final obstacle, and Sonic just edging out Smokey to get the first place finishing position in the tournament. This time the competitors return and 100 more competitors see if they can be the first one to get this far on the Elite Challenge Tournament 13. Once again we start at the beginning, and this is stage 1, the new look stage 1, beginning with the Sky Mines, the 4 floating objects. Make your way across them by any means necessary. You can use the little legs, you can use the main body of the thing, either way, make it across and make the jump onto the bar crawl. The 8 bars all increasing in height, make it all the way up to the top and get the dismount onto the new obstacle, the bounce path. The 3 trampolines spanning the gap, and you get across those and you're greeted by the ever-present The Wall. Always a tricky customer for newcomers and experienced competitors alike. Those who make it up to the top of that run along towards the rolling log, balance on the cylinder on the way down the track, make the jump to the dismount, and that will bring you on to the spider climb, returning from the last tournament. 8 windows all increasing in height, make your way up to the top and then along the curtain slider. Always a tricky customer this one. Make the dismount onto the cups and then you're greeted by Crash Mountain. Make your way up the track by any means necessary, avoiding getting knocked off by the balls, and make the jump to the finishing platform and hit the buzzer. If you can get all that done in under 130 seconds, you'll be moving on to stage 2. So let's see how our competitors perform. First up we have Gotenks. He failed the first obstacle in the last tournament, and he's leading the competitors out this time around. Previously been to stage 2 twice, back in tournaments 7 and 8. And Gotenks is off for his 130 seconds, making progress along the Sky Mines, using the sticking out platforms to make the distance. Makes the dismount onto the bar crawl, straight up to the second bar, then the third, the fourth, the fifth, 6th, 7th and 8th. Gotenks starting to pick the pace back up. Through the bounce path, second trampoline to the third big bounce. Makes the landing and then some. Now onto the wall. Choosing the right hand path. Gotenks at the turnaround. Up to the top, going all the way up to the top, not trying to skip today. Now onto the rolling log. He has failed this before, so he knows he needs to be careful. Gotenks hanging on to the front of the log, keeping it controlled. Just about gets a jump off of it there. Gotenks living life on the edge. But now onto the spider climb with 70 seconds to go. Still plenty of time. Gotenks starts to climb. Third window, 4th to the 5th and the 6th. And all the way up to the top. Gotenks now onto the curtain slider. Goes for the distance. Makes that as well, but comes up short on the up ledge, and Gotenks crashes out on the curtain slider. Next up we have a newcomer. This is Revalis, representing France, and his debut on the Elite Challenge. He's run a couple of courses now, so starting to build up a little bit of a resume, but Revalis, how will the Elite Challenge career begin? Begins well as he defeats the Sky Mines in good time. Now onto the bar crawl, making his way up. 4th bar to the 5th, to the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Revalis beats the bar crawl as well. Now onto the bounce path. Second trampoline, big bounce to the 3rd, and again to the landing, and then some. Now onto the wall. Following Gotenks' route down the right hand side, but overjumps that 3rd ledge. Revalis is out. Next up we have CJG the runner, and he failed the wall in the previous tournament, so he's looking to do better today. He's just seen Revalis go out on it. How will CJG do? Making progress through the Sky Mines, but he doesn't get a jump as he goes for the bar crawl. CJG out early. And up next we have J-Stud Roblox for his 4th appearance on the Elite Challenge. Went out on the spinning bridge in the last tournament, so that's been removed from the course, so will J-Stud have a chance? He makes his way through the sky mines to the 4th mine, nearly slips off the edge, gets the jump to the dismount and onto the bar crawl, 2nd bar, up to the 3rd, and the 4th, goes for the 5th, looks a bit shaky, over jumps the 6th and doesn't pull it back in time. J-Stud Roblox down and out as well. Next up is Rainbows Are Fun, representing the Halo Lounge. She went out on the reverse fly in the last tournament, beating the first obstacle for the first time in her Elite Challenge career. Can she do the same again today? No, she can't. Slips off the side of that 3rd sky mine. Next up is Belmont Czar, also representing the Halo Lounge. You can see well supported in the background. And Belmont Czar quickly through the 1st sky mine to the 2nd. Trying to line up the jump to the 3rd. Doesn't want to go the way of Rainbows, but doesn't make the distance. Belmont Czar comes up short and is out. Up next is Diamond Boy 98. And Diamond Boy underway for his 130 seconds. Quickly onto the 2nd sky mine. Looks to line up the jump to the 3rd, and Diamond Boy goes out as well. That transition between the 2nd and 3rd sky mines proving difficult already in the early stages. And now here comes Zandy Boy looking to avenge his fellow Halo Loungers onto the 2nd sky mine. Goes to the jump to the 3rd and makes it. Zandy Boy now to the 4th. Lands it. Goes for the dismount to the bar crawl. Lands that as well. Zandy Boy starts to climb up to the 4th bar. Now goes to the 5th. And over jumps the 6th. Zandy Boy down and out. The change of angle has caught him out. Up next is Bippy No Nippy. Competed back in Tournament 11 and went out on the 2nd obstacle, so how will Bippy do this time around? 130 seconds underway. And a great save there by Bippy No Nippy off of the 2nd sky mines. Nearly overshot it, managed to pull it back. And Bippy now to the dismount. Lands it on the bar crawl. Starts to climb all the way up to the 4th bar, then the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. Save jumps on the 8th, now to the bounce path. Bippy with a personal best and a big bounce from the 2nd to the 3rd trampoline. Clears the gap, makes the landing, and now Bippy onto the wall. 1st ledge, 2nd, to the 3rd, 4th, 5th ledge. Bippy trying to make it from there. Doesn't make it, goes to the side, makes it up to the top, and Bippy No Nippy now onto the rolling log. Sets the log moving, gets onto it, starts to roll. Trying to keep it under control. Bippy having to jump, saves it, no! Goes off the back and Bippy No Nippy out on the rolling log. Up next is Bumblebee. Another Halo Lounger making their The Elite Challenge debut, and Bumblebee off for 130 seconds on the clock. And straight onto that 3rd sky mine. Now to the 4th. Now to the bar crawl. Lands it on the 1st bar. Up to the 2nd, 3rd. 4th, Bumblebee climbing well. Makes the angle change. Bumblebee also beats the bar crawl. Now onto the bounce path. Big bounce off the 2nd trampoline. Keeping it quite low, but still makes the dismount. Bumblebee onto the wall. 1st ledge, 2nd, to the 3rd. And save jumps off the side. Bumblebee panicked and now is down and out. Up next is another newcomer. This is Nesmir. Also running from the Halo Lounge event, but Nesmir actually a Halo parkour competitor from the same parkour group as the former 1st place Captain J, and Nesmir nearly running off the side of the sky mines there, but makes a recovery and now starts to climb. As I said, experienced with Halo parkour maps, so high hopes for Nesmir after seeing competitors like Captain J and Blaze Wolf in the past. How will Nesmir do? Making easy progress along the bounce path. Lands it, and now onto the wall. Yet another competitor going for the right hand side. Nesmir makes the jumps to the 5th ledge. Gets the crouch up to the top, and Nesmir now onto the rolling log. Sets the log moving. Going for a bunny hop technique. Seems to be working out well for Nesmir. Gets all the way down, jumps to the safety of the landing platform and makes it. Now Nesmir onto the spider climb, into the 1st window, to the 2nd, to the 3rd, 4th. Nesmir, a bit more time than Gotenks we saw earlier, so Nesmir moving well. up to the top and beats the spider climb. Now onto the curtain slider. Goes for the first distance ledge, saves it, gets it under control, sprint jump, lands it. Nesmir saving it, makes the jump up, and then back down. Nesmir going for the low path, but makes it across and beats the curtain slider. 40 seconds to go, that's plenty of time to take on Crash Mountain, and Nesmir dodges the first couple of balls with ease, makes a jump over that amount, but gets clipped! Nesmir, that was so close, but down and out at the last. And Nesmir, a strong debut comes to an end. Up next is Death Trap. Failed the first obstacle in the last tournament. How will he go today? A little bit more conservative across the sky mines. Makes the tricky jump to the third and the fourth. And now Death Trap to the bar crawl. Lands it, panicking. Manages to get it back centered. Death Trap starts to climb to the different angle. And Death Trap now making the distance. Nearly overjumps it on that last bar. Hops down to the bounce path. Chooses to stall the momentum out. Get a bit closer to the edge of the trampoline. Death Trap playing it a bit safer on the bounce path. Not going full send. Makes the landing anyway. And now onto the wall. First ledge to the second and the third. Just about gets a grip. Up to the fifth. Death Trap overjumps. Can't save it. And Death Trap, after a good looking performance, out on the wall. Up next is Google, another competitor returning from back in Tournament 11. Going out on the third obstacle. And Google comes up short on that jump to the third sky mine as well. So that jump claiming yet another competitor. Up next is Blaze Gunner. He's competed in the previous two tournaments. Finished in just outside of the front third both times, so we're expecting to see something good out of Blaze Gunner. And quickly through the sky mines, now onto the bar crawl. Struggling to get up to the third bar and slips out. Blaze Gunner out early. And now up next we have another debutant. This is Minecraft Ninja Warrior competitor Matty the Div. And Matty making his debut on the Elite Challenge. Quickly through to the third sky mine, now the fourth. Matty going for the dismount onto the bar crawl, saves it. Starts to climb, using the sideways approach. Now for the more distance jumps. And Matty keeping it all under control, making good progress all the way to the top of the bar crawl. Sprints onto the bounce path. Second trampoline. Third trampoline, big bounce, makes it to the landing. Now Matty onto the wall, and the first competitor going to the left we've seen today. Going straight up in that diagonal route. And Matty all the way to the top. And we have another competitor onto the rolling log. How will Matty fare on this? Gets onto the log, gets it moving. Another competitor going for the bunny hop technique. Matty hoping the log can keep up with him. And he's gonna make it. Matty the Div now onto the spider climb. First window. Looking a bit cautious. Second window. To the third. Starting to find a rhythm. Fourth window. To the fifth. And the sixth. And the seventh. And the eighth. Matty making it all the way to the top now. Onto the curtain slider. And comes up short of that third ledge. Matty down and out. But a good performance on debut. Up next we have Jendog. For his fifth appearance, someone's ran off the course in front of him and is hiding on the back of the sky mine. Looks like could be the worker of meme based on the Santa hat. But Jendog makes that tricky jump onto the third sky mine. Now to the fourth. And onto the bar crawl. First bar to the second. And the third. And the fourth. Onto the fifth. 6, 7, and 8. Jendog making good progress. Beats the bar crawl. That's a better performance than the last tournament. We went out on the first obstacle and Jendog gonna beat the bounce path. Now onto the wall. If he beats this, it will be a new personal best. And Jendog making the climb up to the fourth ledge, to the fifth. Makes the crouch up to the top, and Jendog now onto the rolling log. Choosing to push the button to reset the log's position. Gets it rolling. Jendog hanging on the top, bunny hopping. Just like the last few competitors, only just makes the distance. And now onto the spider climb. First window. Goes for the second and overjumps it straight through the gap. Gendog in and out, swishes right through. Up next is a new gamer tag for a familiar competitor. This is TX Hot T, formerly known as TX Drew TV. And he's underway quickly through the sky mines. No fear in TX Hot T, beats the first obstacle with ease. He last competed in Tournament 7, and TX Hot T actually did all his practice, then changed his gamer tag. So hopefully that will, whatever process he's hoping works out for him, let's hope it does. He's making good progress through the bounce path, beats that with ease. Now onto the wall. TX Hot T just ticked under 95 seconds now on the clock, making his way up the ledges, up to the 5th ledge. Can he make the skip to the top? Trying it a few times, and he makes it. Persistence is the key, and now TX Hot T onto the rolling log. Mounts onto the log, starts it rolling down the hill. First wrangle, second, going for the dismount, and TX Hot T beats the rolling log. Now onto the spider climb. We're seeing a lot of competitors early getting this far. This could be a good sign as TX Hot T up to the 3rd window, and the 4th, to the 5th, and now the 6th. Checking for a dismount, he's not there yet. There's the 7th and the 8th. And TX Hot T now onto the spider, up to the curtain slider. Makes the first distance jump, goes for the second distance, makes it, lands it, gets it back under control, hops up high. Going to choose to try and go for the high path. One more ledge to go, lands it. TX Hot T makes the dismount. Bit of a stunted jump onto Crash Mountain into the wave of balls, but TX Hot T powering through them. Hops over that one. He's swiping at the balls to try and slow their momentum before jumping them. Knocks 2 of them off the track there. Gets pushed back. TX Hot T, time is ticking away. Makes the jump over that ball. Next few are stopping him. The klaxon is sounding. TX Hot T getting overwhelmed, but he makes it through. Makes the jump. Hits the buzzer at 1.19 seconds. And TX Hot T, that is enough time left on the clock. He's made it through to the 2nd stage to be the first competitor to get to the 2nd stage in this tournament. Congratulations, TX Hot T. Will that bode well for our next competitor? This is the returning Bowling. He put in a strong performance in the last tournament, getting all the way to the 6th obstacle on debut. How will he fare today? Already through past that tricky jump to the 3rd sky mine, now the 4th. Bowling makes it to the bar crawl and now starts to climb. All the way up, 5th bar, 6th bar, a little bit of lag, but Bowling keeping alive. Starts to bounce, 2nd trampoline, big bounce to the 3rd, and makes it. Bowling now onto the wall. Starts to climb, 2nd ledge to the 3rd, and the 4th, 5th. Choosing to go for that 6th ledge, makes it up to the top, nice and easy. Now Bowling onto the rolling log. He's going to set the log rolling, he's going to hang on the back of it. Bowling starting to hop, Bowling, the logs ran away from him. Bowling down and out on the rolling log. Up next we have Labrat, who is a competitor making his The Elite Challenge debut, but he's a former competitor from back in the Halo 4 days, competing on Ninja Warrior of Halo and Halo Ninja Warrior. So how will he fare? Will he bring that experience from the olden days? And he's doing well so far to the 4th sky mine. Now shoots for the landing on the bar crawl. Makes it by a toenail. Gets it under control. Starts to climb. Labrat to the 5th bar. The 6th. The 7th. The 8th. Goes for the trampolines. Big bounce. 2nd trampoline. And the 3rd. Makes it to the landing platform. Now lines up for the wall. 1st ledge to the 2nd. The 3rd. The 4th. Labrat climbing well. Nearly overcorrects off the side. Manages to save it. Great save from Labrat. The instinct's still there. And now lining up for the rolling log. Getting his bearings. Shooting the log to get a bit of momentum before he gets on it. Labrat hopping along, and once again the log rolling away. Labrat hanging on the back, but Labrat down and out. And thus ends his The Elite Challenge debut. Up next we have a competitor we last saw back in Tournament 2. This is Wild Sasuke, who back in Tournament 2 came a cropper on the first obstacle. So how will he fare today? Already looking like he's going to do better. One more jump to go, and Wild Sasuke lands it onto the bar crawl. Now starts to climb to the third bar, just about making it. Fourth bar. Now the distance ones. 5, 6, 7, and 8. And Wild Sasuke now to the bounce path. First bounce, second, third bounce. Gets a lot of height, makes the dismount with ease, and now lines up for the wall. Wild Sasuke, first bar. Lining up for the second, doesn't seem too confident. Goes for it, lands it, slips off. Wild Sasuke didn't put enough lateral into it. And following him, Dark Phoenix came a cropper on that third Sky Mine. Heretic managed to make it across and quickly up to the second bar of the bar crawl before slipping down the side of the structure. Baratoto was lagging about and didn't quite make the jump there either. And Squiggly made the jump to the third and overjumped the fourth, nearly managed to save it and got caught in 2 mines. And then Aiden also came up across and came up short on that third Sky Mine. Up next we have Magic. It's his debut. He's gone for the first jump and he slipped off the side of the first Sky Mine, and Magic already out. Next up we have a Mickey Cop 8. Went out on the bar crawl in the last obstacle. Can he take revenge today? 130 seconds underway. First Sky Mine to the second. Mickey saves it once, twice, thrice. Goes for the third, makes it. Uses the momentum, transitions straight to the fourth. Now to the bar crawl, lands it. First bar, second, third. Goes for the fourth, hesitates. Mickey Cop save jumps. This did take him out in the last tournament, so he's right to be worried, but he underjumps that 6th bar, and Mickey Cop out already. Next up, another competitor on debut. This is Kalob Plays. And Kalob, 130 seconds underway to the first Sky Mine. Jumps to the second. To the tip of the second to try and sprint for distance. Makes it to the third. Builds up some momentum, makes it to the fourth. And Caleb now to the bar crawl, lands it just about, has to save. Now starts to climb. Second bar. Goes for the third, doesn't make it, panicking, sliding about. Gets it back under control. Second time's the charm. No, it's not. What about the third time for Caleb? Makes it on the third attempt. And up to the fourth bar, nearly slides off again. It's been a rocky journey so far from Caleb, but he's making progress. To the 6th bar. Lines up for the 7th, lands it. And the 8th, and Caleb beats the bar crawl. Now through the bounce path, second trampoline, third trampoline. Does a 360. He's happy. He made the landing. Now onto the wall. Will the 360 give him the bonus style points to get up this? No, they won't. He doesn't get up to the second ledge, and Caleb down and out. Now we have another returning competitor. This is Tricky Cyrus. We last saw him on the Elite Challenge way back in Tournament 3, where he came out and failed the 7th obstacle. Cyrus had a bit of a rocky history on the Elite Challenge in comparison to the rest of his Halo jumping career, burning over a minute on the fire escapes in one tournament. How will he fare today? Very quickly through the Sky Mines, very quickly through the bar crawl. Now along the bounce path, first trampoline to the second and the third. Cyrus flying through, lands it, now onto the wall. First peg to the second, to the third. And the fourth just about makes it, 5th makes it, goes for a 6th. And up to the top, still over 90 seconds left on the clock as he hits the rolling log. Sets the log on its way. Cyrus balancing on the front. There's the wrangle, there's the dismount. Tricky Cyrus now against the spider climb. Pretty much 80 seconds left as he gets into the first window, second to the third, and the fourth. Cyrus climbing away all the way to the top. Now on to the curtain slider. Skips straight to that second ledge of the curtain slider. Up to the third. First distance jump. Uses the momentum to keep it going. Cyrus slows things down. Hops up. Will he go high? Will he go low? He's backing up for a big sprint either way. chooses to go high, keeps the momentum going, skips the last run completely, and now waiting for a gap in the traffic on Crash Mountain. Cyrus, 40 seconds to go, finds a gap, hurdles the first ball, takes a body shot for the second one, tries to jump the third, it clips him, fourth and fifth. Cyrus getting pushed around but making progress. Plenty of time still on the clock. Cyrus is so close. If he can get around this final ball, he might have a chance. Gets clonked on the head, lets the ball roll away. Cyrus makes the jump and hits the button for his first The Elite Challenge Stage 1 clear. 17.6 seconds on the clock, means he's the fastest time of the day. And he's even got Junsato Cyan coming down to celebrate with him. Tricky Cyrus moving on to Stage 2. Up next we have Alex Halo, competitor number 30, and someone who will also be looking for a berth in Stage 2. Made it all the way to Crash Mountain in the last tournament. How will he fare this time around? Making early progress through the Sky Mines, all the way to the fourth one. Dismounts to the bar crawl and now starts to climb. Alex Halo, 5th bar, 6th, 7th and 8th. This had no problem from in the last tournament, and sure enough he beats it again today. Now across the new bounce path. Not looking like it's going to be troubling him too much. And now almost every other obstacle he has between him and the finish line he beat in the last tournament. So he knows how to do it, it's just a question of doing it when the lights are bright. Alex Halo up the wall with relative ease. Now onto the rolling log. Hops onto the log, sets it moving. Hanging off the front, starts to hop. He's living it a bit dangerously, but Alex Halo, the technique works, makes it down to the bottom. Now onto the spider climb, into the first window. And the second, nearly over jumps, corrects. Third window, back and forth, Alex Halo picking the pace up. Slowing it back down again, getting everything a bit more deliberate. Now onto the curtain slider, first ledge to the second. Quickly hops up to the third, goes for the fourth. Uses the momentum, 5th ledge. Trying to hang on and kill the momentum, but he doesn't get a footing, and Alex Halo rushes the jump and down and out on the curtain slider. Up next we have the first competitor who's been in every tournament so far. This is K-Fly for his 13th appearance. He has declared back in the Tournament 11 YouTube comment section that this will be his tournament. Let's see if it will be, as he's through the Sky Mines already. Lands it. Now climbing up the bar crawl. 7th ledge, 8th. Makes the dismount. Lands it. First jump, second off the second trampoline to the third. Makes the landing. Now onto the wall. K-Fly, 100 seconds. Starts to climb using the right hand side route. Goes to the narrow ledge, back out. Keeps going up all the way to the top. Now the rolling log. Sends it off in front of him. K-Fly makes the jump to the already rolling log. Starts to bounce along the top. And K-Fly down to the bottom of the hill. Makes the landing. Now the spider climb. Into the first window. To the second. And the third. Fourth window. 5th. 6th. 7. 8. And makes it now to the curtain slider. K-Fly. Making good progress. Making quick progress as well. Makes the jump up. Now he's got the split section, choosing to go high is K-Fly, all the way to the top. Still over 45 seconds to go. There's a gap on Crash Mountain. K-Fly not going for it, choosing to wait for a better opportunity. Lands it. Now starts swinging at the balls. He's got a blocker, making progress. Not the quickest of progress, but the ball in front of him despawns. He's got another one now. Still over 30 seconds, and K-Fly absolutely flying. Can he finish the job? He's so close. Only a couple of steps away, gets hit back once, twice, makes it round. K-Fly makes the jump, lands it, and hits the buzzer. Third clear of the day, 18.60 seconds, and K-Fly, he's been in every tournament. This is the first time he's made it to the end of the first stage, and will be granted a berth in Stage 2 as a result. Congratulations, K-Fly. Up next, competitor number 32. This is Truls Olsen 85. He made his debut in the last tournament, and Truls made it all the way to the 5th obstacle, finishing in 33rd equal, so a top 3rd performance on debut from Truls. Makes it through the Sky Mines with ease, now starts to climb the bar crawl, and slips down the bar crawl, manages to save it, Second time's the charm to that third bar, to the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eight. Troll starting to pick the pace up, but overshoots the eighth and slides off, and Troll's Olsen out on the second obstacle. Up next is Creepy Tomcat, once again with the sandwich, ups onto the Sky Mines, first mine to the second. Lining it up for the third, hanging on the edge is Creepy Tomcat. And he doesn't make the jump to that third Sky Mine, and another victim of that jump. Up next is the debutant, this is Mr. Random 287, another sim racer from the Smile Power Racing team, and Mr. Random making progress. He makes that tricky third Sky Mine, drops to the fourth, goes for the landing and undershoots the bar crawl, just got tripped up on that final ledge. Next competitor up on deck, he's another wielding the sandwich, and he's being accompanied by Frimimo Direct. This is Coveralis, who in the previous two tournaments has finished equal last place. So Coveralis already doing better than that today. Can he beat the first obstacle? He's got free in support, he just has this one jump to go, and he's not going to make it. He bounces off Coveralis, down and out. And up next we have a Shaxbird, 9-time competitor, failed the first obstacle in the last tournament. Let's see if he can do better today. Lining up that tricky jump to the third mine, he makes it. Does the German, now to the fourth Sky Mine. Another lining up the jump to the bar crawl. We've just seen Coveralis come up short, Shaxbird does not. Hanging out on the side of the bar, Shaxbird starts to climb, second bar. Backing up, looking for the third. Gets the third. Now looking for the fourth, he's up that as well. Now they start to go for distance rather than height, Shaxbird, sixth bar. And he's overshot the seventh, Shaxbird down and out. As the next competitor hits the start of the course, this is Virus GR42. He failed the bar crawl in the last tournament. And he's going to come up short of that second Sky Mine, and Virus out early. Up next we have Bussy666, another competitor to come up short on the bar crawl in the last tournament. And he's going to make that tricky jump to the third mine, lands it on the fourth, but he's going to overcorrect and walk off. Bussy is out as well. Up next is the third member of the 100% Club. This is Makofoven from France, running with a sniper rifle, and he's going to make that tricky jump as well. Looking to line up the fourth Sky Mine, lands it. Now looking to line up towards the bar crawl, makes it to the first bar, sticks it. Climbing up the side, Makofoven to the third bar, and the fourth, to the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, and he's going to slide off, and Makofoven down and out just like Troll's Olsen earlier. Up next is the returning Deadawake UK. He went out on the bar crawl on debut in the last tournament, quickly through the first three Sky Mines to the fourth. Backing it up to use all of the available real estate to build up some speed. Deadawake, he's going to go down the center, and he's not going to make it to the bar crawl this time. Up next is Tarmac Griffin 42, and he's going to attack the course as always. He returned to the Elite Challenge in the previous tournament, went out on the first obstacle, but he's done better than that today. Tarmac Griffin starting to climb up the bar crawl, just slams his face, and he slides off as well. Up next we have Restored Gecko 48, and he's already out. Following him was Wolfheart, he slipped off the second Sky Mine. Striker Dragon also went the same way. Overlord Rod made the jump to the second mine, and he slid off too, so 3 in a row off there. Outspoken Elm didn't even make it that far. And now we're up to competitor 47, this is Spartan Walnut 71. He went out on the spider climb in the last tournament, so he's looking to get some revenge on a deep stage 1 obstacle. But as we've already seen, several competitors have been claimed early on, and Spartan Walnut, he learns from their mistakes, makes it all the way through to the bar crawl already, up to the 4th bar, the 5th, and the 6th. The 7th, a little bit shaky for Walnut. All the way up to the top, sticks it, takes a moment, goes for the bounce path, second bounce. Choosing to take a double bounce off that second trampoline to the 3rd, high bounce. Now onto the wall. First peg to the 2nd, and the 3rd. 4th peg. 5th peg for Walnut. choosing to go for a sick all the way up to the top makes it nice and easy. Now the rolling log. Hits the reset button, starts the log rolling. Spartan Walnut on top. First wrangle, goes for the dismount, makes it. Now this is what took him out in the last tournament. Can Walnut get his revenge? First window. To the second. To the third. To the fourth. And the fifth. Spartan Walnut climbing well. One more window to go. Makes it. Beats his nemesis. Now onto the curtain slider. Third ledge very quickly. Goes for the distance on the fourth. Keeps the momentum. Goes up high. Back down low. Walnut making good progress. All the way to Crash Mountain already. Good ball cycle. Hurdles the first one. Hurdles the second one. He's got a bit of a wave, but he jumps them all. Gets tagged. Saves it on the edge. Spartan Walnut hangs on. Makes another jump. Spartan Walnut's going to make it. Hits the buzzer. 21.32 seconds. And Spartan Walnut, fourth competitor through to the second stage today. And up next is Fix the Wi-Fi, competitor number 48 on deck. Wi-Fi failed the fourth obstacle in the last two tournaments, but he's hoping to be doing better today. And Wi-Fi comes up short as well on that third sky mine. That's seeming to be a very tricky jump. Will it trip up Junsato Cyan? He's been to stage 2 times in the past, but he failed the reverse fly in the last tournament. The reverse fly, of course, now no longer here. So how will Cyan fare? Makes it all the way quickly through the sky mines. Now onto the bar crawl. First bar to the second, the third, fourth. Cyan really moving quickly through the bar crawl. Now onto the bounce path. This is replaced the reverse fly, which he failed in the last tournament. And Cyan makes it all the way across. Now onto the wall. First three ledges done in a heartbeat. Straight to the fourth. Skips up to the top. Cyan absolutely motoring. Still over 90 seconds to go onto the rolling log. Cyan keeping things under control with a wrangle and a dismount. Junsato Cyan now 80 seconds onto the spider climb. Quickly back and forth between the windows. Already up to the 6th. Then the 7th. The 8th. Cyan not stopping in the slightest. Already skipped one ledge on the curtain slider. Goes for the second skip. Saves it. Cyan back under control. Beats the obstacle and now has a minute left to tackle Crash Mountain. Junsato Cyan absolutely flying. Stage 1 speed record is 52 seconds, so he's not going to beat that. But Cyan absolutely flying. Punches that last ball out of the way, makes the jump, lands it. 44.34, comfortably the fastest time of the day so far from Junsato Cyan. And that makes us 5 competitors clear of stage 1 before we've even reached halfway. Absolutely fantastic from the competitors, really stepping the game up. Up next, number 50, this is Drago is back. And he was another competitor that got all the way to the last obstacle of stage 1 before getting cruelly denied by Crash Mountain, seeking his first taste of success on the Elite Challenge. And Drago very quickly through the sky mines. Now onto the bar crawl, using the angles all the way to the top of the bar crawl. Now to the bounce path. First bounce, big bounce, almost looking like he's got a jetpack. Second bounce, and then the third. Makes the landing. Drago back onto the wall. First peg, second, third. Has to save it. Goes for the fourth. And he tries to go back right, but hits his head. And Drago is back down and out once again. Now up next, this is Hunter Unit 751. At the 751st run ever on the Elite Challenge. And Hunter on his way for his 130 seconds. Making good progress through the sky mines already. Lands it on the bar crawl, nearly slips off, has to save. But Hunter starts to climb. He's been through stage 2 5 times in the past. And he's been clearing only on odd numbered tournaments, so it does bode well for Hunter. Taking a second bounce on that second trampoline. Makes the landing. Now onto the wall. He's failed this before. Failed it in the last tournament. In fact, Hunter climbing, looking to take revenge, and he does. Hunter Unit up to the top. You can see how quick Cyan was going. He's a full 10 seconds or more ahead of Hunter, but Hunter still well on pace. Makes the wrangle, makes the dismount, lands it, now onto the spider climb. Hunter now into the windows, starting to climb. In between tournaments, the tournament results spreadsheet has been updated, and it turns out Hunter actually has a back-to-back 8th place finish coming into this tournament, and he's choosing to go all the way to the tippity top of the spider climb, able to skip the first 2 ledges on the curtain slider that way, and Hunter, making good progress, goes up high and to the umbrella. Now, 43 seconds on the clock. He's shooting the balls up in the rack just to try and give him a bigger space to work with and slow them down. That way if he does get hit, it has less of an impact. And Hunter makes it a long way up. He's picked up a blocker, not making too much progress. Nearly walks off the side there, does Hunter. Has to do a very late save. Now the ball's queuing up against him and forcing him back down the slope. Hunter, he's keeping his feet on the ground. Harder to get knocked off that way. Not the fastest, but he knows he's got some time left. Hunter, the klaxon starts to sound. He's within sight of the finish. Waits for the last ball to get out of his way. Makes the jump. Hits the mine. 1.78 seconds, and Hunter Unit 751 becomes the 6th clear of the day. Not the fastest time by any means, but Hunter still onto the second stage with the rest of the gang. And we still have 49 competitors waiting in the wings, including number 52, Kyle Schambeg. He went out on the bar crawl in the last tournament, so he's got something to take revenge on. And Kyle underway for his 130 seconds, and he's going to slip off on that second sky mine. Absolutely treacherous early obstacle in the first half of the tournament. Claims another victim. Now here comes Hyan Galactic. His 11th appearance on the course. And Galactic failed the curtain slider in the last tournament, so he's been getting further and further with each appearance. You're going to see him steadily moving towards a stage 1 clear. Will today be the day he breaks through? Has to make a save jump onto the sky, onto the bar crawl. Making his way up the bars to the 7th and the 8th. Galactic looking solid. First bounce, second trampoline. Goes for the big 3rd bounce. Makes the landing. Now Galactic onto the wall. Choosing the left-hand side. Starts to climb. 4th peg. 5th. And the 6th. Galactic all the way to the top. Now onto the rolling log. Sends the log on its way. Starting to make good progress. Has a little bit of a skip around. Galactic saves it. Makes the dismount. Now onto the spider climb. This is another deep stage 1 run from Galactic. Will today be the day? 3rd window to the 4th. And the 5th. Galactic making progress with the climb. 7th window. 8th window. Doesn't choose to go all the way up to the top. Galactic now 2nd ledge to the 3rd. Goes for the 4th. Saves it. He's lining up that big jump. Makes it. Saves it again. Galactic making progress. Up high. Drops back down low. 1 more ledge to go, and he's beaten what took him out in the last tournament. And Galactic to the umbrellas. Now onto Crash Mountain. He's opening fire on the balls, trying to slow them down. Galactic gets clipped, and he sent flying. Nearly makes it back to the cliffs, and Hyan Galactic rejected by Crash Mountain. Up next, we have Opixonic, returning from Tournament 10. So this is his first appearance in the 100 competitor tournament. Back in Tournament 10, he failed the 2nd obstacle. So can Opix do better today? Makes it quickly through to the 4th sky mine. But slips off the bar crawl instantly, and Opix down and out. Up next is the returning Goombob. He went out on the first obstacle last time around. Can he do better? No, he can't. Comes up short of that 2nd sky mine, and Goombob down and out. Next up is the host of Halo Track's Draft Series. This is Brendan. He's on the course for his 5th time for Brendan. Failed the reverse fly in his last appearance in the last tournament, and Brendan makes the jump now to the bar crawl. Lands it with ease. Starts to climb. He beat this before, but he doesn't beat it again. Brendan overshoots that 4th bar, and he is out. Next up is Kimchiyaru, one of the hosts of DRL, and he's gonna make his way onto the second sky mine and slip straight off the side. Kimchi's out already. Up next is D-Mills NY. Like Kimchi, this is his 10th appearance, and he makes it to the second of the sky mines. Now to the third and the fourth. D-Mills lining up the jump to the bar crawl, lands it, sticks it, and now starts to climb. Has a bit of a slip up, but makes it on the second time of asking. Now starting to go for distance. He made it all the way to the curtain slider in the last tournament, so D-Mills is another one of these competitors that is creeping towards a stage 1 success. Makes it easily through the bounce path, now onto the wall. Choosing that right hand path all the way up, 5th ledge to the 6th, up to the top. And now D-Mills onto the rolling log once again. Lands it. He's got some good support in the background. And D-Mills surfing that log with ease down to the spider climb. Into the first window, the second, the third. It looks like Kimchi, Brendan, and Goombob all in the background. 3 vanquished competitors. Will D-Mills take revenge for all of them? And he's overshot the top. D-Mills, he's panicking, he's slipping down, and he's managing to save it on the landing platform. Good recovery from D-Mills, but it's going to cost him a lot of time. He's got to get a move on. Climbing back up, there's the 7th window again, 8th window, and he slips again. D-Mills manages to save it on the 6th, straight to the 7th. D-Mills really looking shaky on the spider climb, but he's glad to put that behind him. He's only got 35 seconds now. And he's the middle of the curtain slider. Big jump from D-Mills, 30 seconds now gone. Goes to the middle point. Now the split section goes up high. He's taking his time making the landings, but he's only got 20 seconds to deal with Crash Mountain. Nearly gets clipped by the first ball, does get clipped by the second, saves it on the edge. Gets a bit of a break, hurdles the next 2. And the next 2, takes another one to the knees, but D-Mills makes it to the top, hits the buzzer, 6 seconds on the dot. What a recovery. And D-Mills NY, he's heading to the second stage for his first time in both the Elite Challenge and Halo jumping in general. So congratulations in order for D-Mills. 7 competitors through. And here's another one who's been there before. This is Nike 2000. Cleared back in tournament 11, but in the last tournament went out on the curtain slider. So how will Nike do today? Well, he's beaten the sky mines, lands the bar crawl, starts to climb, second bar to the third and the fourth. Now to the distance jumps, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nike to the bounce path. First big bounce, second. He's gonna land that as well for the third. Makes the landing, choosing to go to the left. First peg, starts to climb up the wall is Nike. Tries to go all the way to the left, but bangs his shins and doesn't make it, comes up short. Nike is out. Up next, you have another Halo racer. This is Rotary Power 95. This is the Elite Challenge debut. Makes it quickly to the second mine. Makes the jump to the third. That's a tricky one. And a jump to the fourth Rotary. Now to the bar crawl. He's going to land that as well. Starts to climb. Second bar. Trying to go for the third. Overcorrects. Walks backwards. Sliding around his Rotary. But he's up to the third bar at the end. And now he slips off. Rotary down and out. Going to that fourth bar. Up next, competitor at 61. This is Squeezu. Another DRL host returning from Tournament 10 where he failed the 5th obstacle. Makes it to that second sky mine. Sends it for the third, lands that as well. Keeps the momentum going. Squeezu now to the bar crawl and he's going to shoot straight between the ledges. Squeezu out as well. Willing Hale, another competitor coming up short of that third mine. So too did Mode. Sylvan lined up the second one and he came up short there. Kamala's Laugh made the jump. Didn't quite make it to that third one either. And Hellbent Bag came with a lot of speed. Didn't make the jump, managed to save it. Pulled a recovery. And then whilst trying to get to the bar crawl, slid straight between the bars. Up next we have Avows the Samurai. He failed at the spider climb in the last tournament. How will he fare today? 130 seconds are underway for Avows. Quickly through the sky mines. To the fourth. Touch and go to the bar crawl, instantly up to the second bar. Now the third. Good pace so far from Elvaus. He's attacking the course. Up to the top of the bar crawl, now to the bounce path. Choosing to slow the momentum, go for a second touch. First time off the second trampoline, now onto the third. 2 touches again and Elvaus. Now onto the wall, straight onto the first peg, the second and the third. Up to the 4th, 5th, 6th, and Elvaus up, beats the wall. Up next for him is the rolling log, shoots the floor a few times trying to get the log moving. But Elvaus, he's on top, he's surfing the log down with ease. Gets a wrangle, gets the dismount, and Elvaus now onto the spider climb. Can he get revenge for the last tournament? First window. And he comes up short at the second. Elvaus down on the spider climb again. Up next we have Ryan 24107. And he made a real impact in the last tournament, getting all the way to Crash Mountain. And Ryan attacking the course quickly early on. He suffered a bit from time limit restrictions in the last one, but he's going very quickly through the bar crawl, indeed. First bounce on the bounce path, lines it up, does a 2-touch on the first one, straight to the second, straight to the third, and straight to the landing. Over 100 seconds, Ryan now onto the wall and quickly touch and go, touch and go, touch and go, all the way up the wall. Another competitor shooting the rolling log ahead of him. Ryan leaving it very late to get onto the log, starting to roll to the side. Ryan's got to recover, and he does! Ryan makes it, the log's off on its way somewhere. It's clearly left the oven on. But Ryan, and he also comes up short on the first to the second window of the spider climb, just like Elvaus. Up next, competitor 69. This is Atlantic champ. We've not seen him in a while, but the last time we did was back in tournament 9, where he made it to the second stage for his first time. Will Atlantic be able to get there again? Let's find out. All the way up to the 7th bar and the 8th. Atlantic making light work of the first 2 obstacles, as you would expect from someone of his caliber. Quickly through the bounce path as well, and now Atlantic lining up the wall. First ledge, second to the third, to the 4th, to the 5th, saves, and the 6th. Atlantic all the way up to the top. Now the rolling log, jumps on it, gonna start it moving, keeping it under control. Trying to surf the log down, hanging on the front. Atlantic gets a save, makes the jump, makes the dismount, and now another competitor onto the spider climb. Second window, to the 3rd, to the 4th, and the 5th. Atlantic champ climbing his way towards success. 7th window, 8th, now onto the curtain slider. Atlantic making progress, skips that 3rd ledge. Starting to build up speed, skips the up ledge as well, manages to just about make it. He's on the low path, saves it, makes it across, and now Crash Mountain stands in his way. Atlantic champ hurdles the first ball, gets hit, smacked by the second, manages to just about save it, goes up off the 3rd hit. Atlantic getting beaten from pillar to post, but he's starting to make good progress, hurdles another ball, he's right at the end. Atlantic gets hit by the final ball, and he's down and out, and Atlantic champ crashing out. Up next, competitor number 70. This is Whirlpool 730 for his 4th appearance on the Elite Challenge. Still chasing his first stage 1 clear, but Whirlpool underway. And another competitor you sense it's got to be a case of when, not if. But Whirlpool onto the Sky Mines. Beats those, lands on the bar crawl, has to save, gets it back under control and starts to climb. Went out on the reverse fly in the last tournament. It's not there this time around. It's been replaced by the bounce path. So here goes Whirlpool. Big bounce to the 1st, to the 2nd, and the 3rd. Whirlpool lands it. Now the wall stands in front of him. And he backs off the first peg. Whirlpool, that's got to be an error of judgment. And he's out as a result. Up next is Disappoint 2919. He's been to stage 2 before. Can he do it again? 130 seconds underway for Disappoint. Failed the spider climb in the last tournament, cleared back in tournament 8. Let's see if today is Disappoint's day, as he's also using the angles method. Going up the bar crawl, sends it now to the bounce path. First bounce, 2nd, big high bounce to the 3rd, possibly the highest bounce we've seen to the landing platform. Disappoint now onto the first peg of the wall, second to the third. Sprinting in and pulling at 90 degrees. Got a unique technique, but it works out for him. Now the rolling log for Disappoint. Shoots it to get it moving. Disappoint going for the bunny hop technique. Still shooting it to speed it up. Disappoint hanging on the back of the log, but it's working out for him, and Disappoint beats the obstacle. Next up is the spider climb. This took him out in the last tournament, so he's treating it with the caution it deserves. Nearly overjumps that third window, but he's climbing well to the 6th and the 7th and the 8th. Disappoint all the way up to the top. Lands it, starts to pick the speed up on the curtain slider. Little save jump, goes up high, back down low, beats the obstacle. Now Disappoint onto Crash Mountain. Got a good cycle, hits the first ball, trying to use it as a blocker. Certainly stops the next couple. Disappoint sprinting. He's getting pushed back, but he's making progress overall. He's got another blocker now. Disappoint getting pummeled, but he's fighting back. The balls are no match for Disappoint. He's keeping his feet on the ground, and now he's going to make the jump, and Disappoint hits the buzzer. 17.69 seconds. Yet another competitor through to stage 2. That's 8 through already, and still 29 competitors to go. Well done, Disappoint. Now let's see if anyone else can join him. Next up, we have Caden Wyatt 21, and he's a competitor who's been to stage 2 twice before. Will he be able to follow the wave of momentum? Quickly through the first 3 sky mines to the 4th. Lands it on the bar crawl, and Caden starts to climb up to the 3rd bar, the 4th bar. Looks to make sure he's in the right spot before keeping going all the way through the bar crawl. Jumps for the bounce path. Hits the big jump, first to the 2nd, now the 3rd. Makes the landing, now onto the wall. Caden, left hand side. Chooses to stick to the very left hand side path. First person to do that successfully today. Now onto the rolling log. This took him out in the last tournament. Caden needs to be careful. Hangs on the front. Gets the first save. The 2nd. Surfs it all the way to the end. Makes the dismount. Easy as pie. Caden Wyatt now onto the spider climb. First window to the 2nd. Little short jump to the 3rd, just about makes it, and Caden starts to pick the pace up all the way to the final window. Now onto the curtain slider, straight to the 1st, to the 2nd ledge, skips the 3rd as well. We've seen a number of competitors start to incorporate that as a technique. Next big jump for Caden. Goes up high, back down low, and beats the curtain slider. Caden now onto Crash Mountain, 40 seconds just ticking by. He's got the luxury of a bit of time to wait for a gap, and Caden does, and those 3 balls all fall off. That gives Caden some nice, easy progress. Hurdles the first couple of balls, hurdles the next set. Gets hit on the head, doesn't budge. Caden to the end, makes the jump, hits the mine, 21.67 seconds. And Caden Wyatt, for the first time since Tournament 8, is going to be returning to Stage 2. Way to go, Caden. And up next is TunV101, a very promising competitor in his own right, chasing his first The Elite Challenge success. And TunV's 130 seconds are off. Makes the jump to the 2nd sky mine. Makes the tricky jump to the 3rd. Now the 4th. Slows it down, lines up, builds up some momentum, makes it to the bar crawl. TunV has a plan so far for everything he's coming across, and he's executing it well. Angles to the top of the bar crawl, now to the bounce path. And TunV, big high bounce, 3rd one, to the dismount, now the wall. Onto that 1st peg, up to the 2nd, to the 3rd. Jumping back closer to the wall, up to the 5th. Chooses to use a 6th, and TunV now onto the rolling log. Shoots it to get it going. Makes up the distance, lands it, starts to surf. First save, 2nd save. And a 3rd jump to the landing platform. Now he's onto the spider climb. This took him out in the last tournament. So can TunV get a measure of revenge? Up to the third window already. Now the fourth. And the fifth. And the sixth. Seventh window. 8. And Tun V. Now onto the curtain slider. Straight to the second ledge. To the third. Big high jump. Has to make a save. Makes the distance. Saves again. Goes up high. Keeps going up the high path. Tun V, one more jump to go. Makes it to the Crash Mountain as a nice cycle. Gets a bit of space. First ball dealt with. Shoots them to slow them down. Tun V making very good progress. All the way up the slope. Tun V makes the jump. Hits the buzzer. And through for the first time is Tun V. 24.05 seconds. That's a cracking time. And that brings us already to double-digit stage clears. Way to go, Tun V. See you on your first of the Elite Challenge Stage 2. Next up is Flamosaurus. He cleared all the way back in Tournament 1, and he's been chasing the second time on Stage 2 ever since. His 130 seconds underway. He's had very much a one-man rivalry with Crash Mountain. He's been doing a number on Flame on a number of tournaments. Now, can he get as far to get some revenge again? And Flame up the bar crawl. 7th bar, 8th bar, all the way to the top. Onto the bounce path. First trampoline, second to the third, and lands it. Now onto the wall. It's taken him out before. Flame not showing any intimidation, gets all the way up to the top, trying to get that little skip, chooses to go for the 6th ledge instead, makes it up, beats the wall. Now on to the rolling log. Flamosaurus down the track, surfing it all the way, does a wrangle, does the save jump, and now he lands it onto the spider climb. This took him out in the last tournament, and it's done the same again. Flame down and out. He's going to live at the bottom of the sea now like a starfish. And now up next is Spenny37, another competitor chasing their second taste of the second stage. Spenny underway. He of course cleared back in Tournament 5. Missed the last tournament. He failed the grapple climb in his last appearance in Tournament 11. That obstacle not on the course anymore. And Spenny makes the hard jump to the third mine look easy. Now to the fourth. Going at a more leisurely pace than some of the other competitors, lands it on the bar crawl. Instantly hits his head, but starts to climb. Spenny making progress. Up to the 5th bar, the 6th, and the 7th, 8th. Spenny up to the top. Trying to line up the big jump towards the bounce path. Doesn't show the most confidence, but Spenny going for it. Second bounce to the 3rd. Makes the landing. Now Spenny onto the wall, onto that first peg. 2nd to the 3rd. Looking for the 4th, makes it, and the 5th, straight to a 6th, all the way up to the top. And Spenny now onto the rolling log. He's had his reservations about this obstacle in the past. Will he be able to conquer them today as he's surfing it down? Makes the wrangle, makes the dismount, and now Spenny onto the spider climb. Straight into the first window, but he undershoots the second, and Spenny, the spider climb, claims another victim, as does that second sky mine as Goofy goes off the side. Marco 2 came off, trying to line it up. Now that's gold ended up in that pinch point, but wasn't able to save it, and Jay Parsons overshot that second sky mine. Agreeable Hippo made it all the way through the sky mines and onto the bar crawl, but he too came up short. Dr. Octogomopus walked off backwards, and now that's going to bring us to the 82nd competitor. This is Gaming Brando. Brando has beaten this stage 4 times in the past. Can he make it lucky number 5 today? As he's quickly through the sky mines, and he hits the bar crawl and he bounces back, and Brando straight off early. That is a huge shot. Up next is HaloFan17. 3 times a victor of stage 1, and he's underway for his 130 seconds. HaloFan quickly through the sky mines. Does he go the way of Brando? No, he doesn't. He lands securely, and HaloFan starts to climb. Cleared in the last tournament and went out on the Mongoose cliffhanger. A solid 12th place finish for HaloFan, looking to do better today. quickly through the bounce path is going to help that cause. Now onto the wall. Second peg to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. Halofan moving very well indeed. Now the rolling log in front of him. Halofan hops onto the log, shoots it to get it moving, and now down the hill. Hanging very far forward, but Halofan just about makes the dismount. He's still alive, he's still cooking, and now he's onto the spider climb. Second window, jumps straight through it, but manages to save it, and now Halofan picking the pace up once again. Lots of competitors moving very quick. Halofan choosing to go all the way to the tippity top of the spider climb. Now onto the curtain slider. Second ledge to the third, very quickly indeed. Save jump for Halofan, still a minute to go on the time. He's looking good for that, but Halofan doesn't get the distance. And Halofan slips and slides out. Now we're on to competitor number 84. This is Sane the Legend, another competitor who's made the trip to stage 2 3 times. And Sane underway for his 130 seconds onto that second sky mine. Makes the jump to the third, doesn't get tripped up the same way we've seen so many competitors already today. Sane now onto the bar crawl and starts to climb. Sane, one of the most mechanically gifted competitors in Halo jumping, but you never know what to expect when Sane hits your course. And he's been out, he's had deep runs, he's been out early, and he's done everything in between. And today he's onto the wall. First peg to the second, and he clips the third, and Sane is out already. That has to go down as a shocker. And now it's the return of a former first place finisher. This is Soul Reaper 1025. Made a lot of people's eyebrows raise back in Tournament 4, where he finished in in Tournament 3, where he finished in first place. Soul, first in Tournament 4, third in Tournament 5. We haven't seen him since Tournament 9 when he went out on the 6th obstacle. Soul making his way across the bounce path. Big bounce to the landing, and he lands it. Now onto the wall. Starts to climb all the way up the wall. Uses that 6th peg up to the top. And Soul running for the rolling log. Sends it off ahead of him. Sideways on the way down. Soul with a wrangle. Goes for the big dismount. Lands it. And Soul Reaper now onto the spider climb. Into the first window. The second. The third. Up to the 4th. 5th. 6th. 7th. And 8th window for Soul. Makes the transfer onto the curtain slider. First 3 ledges done with ease. Now to the 4th. Saves it. Makes the long jump up high now. Back down low for Soul. Last ledge. To the umbrella. Straight onto Crash Mountain. Showing no fear or intimidation. Running straight at the traffic. Hurtling off the top of the bulls as they oncome into him. Soul brings it. Slows the pace down now. And he's right up to the top. He's almost under the waterfall. Getting pushed back a bit though is Soul. Gets a little hop there, trying to get round the sides of the bulls. Sprints for it. He's got a blocker. Makes it round. Makes the jump. Makes the landing. Hits the buzzer. And Soul Reaper 1025 returning to stage 2 for the first time since back in Tournament 5. Just shy of 30 seconds on the clock. So a fantastic time as well for Soul Reaper. That's 11 competitors through. And 15 more up on deck. The next of those is Snoz. He's cleared in tournaments 3, 10, and 11, but he crashed out on the spider climb in the last tournament. Will he get his revenge? Snoz now to the 2nd of the sky mines. Lines up the jump to the 3rd. Makes that. Trying to line up to the 4th. Makes that as well. Showing some caution, which is wise. We've seen so many people get crashed out early. Now onto the bar crawl. 2nd bar. Up to the 3rd. The 4th. Now the 5th bar for Snoz. And the 6th. 7th. Another competitor using the angles. Makes the jump now down to the bounce path. Big bounce to the 2nd trampoline. Now the 3rd. Big bounce to the landing. Snoz makes it. Now onto the wall. Choosing the left hand side. First peg. Making sure he's right out on the edge to avoid hitting his head on these short ledges above. Snoz up to the 3rd peg. Now the 4th. Back in tight. To the 5th. One more for Snoz. Makes it just about, but makes it nonetheless. 70 seconds. Resetting the rolling log. Hopping on. gets the log rolling, and Snoz, very controlled on the descent, gets the wrangle, gets the dismount, makes the landing. Now, can he get his revenge on the spider climb? First window for Snoz, second, to the third, and the fourth. Snoz climbing well, fifth window. Comes up short of the sixth, saves it for a down, but overcompensates and slides all the way off, and Snoz for the second tournament in a row, out on the spider climb. Up next is Snoz's seemingly eternal twin on the Elite Challenge. This is Crown Ferret 19, the host of Irish Warrior, and he is on looking for his third stage 2. Manages to save it, avoids an early exit on that fourth sky mine, makes it now onto the bar crawl and starts to climb all the way up to the fourth bar, looking for the fifth. Now the sixth. Irish starting to get into a rhythm. Now goes for the bounce path. Big bounce on the first to the second, and the third. Makes the landing, now onto the wall. He's beaten this many times in the past. Irish, fourth peg to the fifth. Looking for a sixth peg. Makes it up to the top. 80 seconds left on the clock. Sends the rolling log off ahead of him. Makes the jump to catch up. Irish hopping down the log. Makes the dismount. He's going to land it. Now onto the spider climb. First window for Irish. Saves it. Second window. To the third. And the fourth. Irish starting to look like he's getting into a rhythm. All the way to the top. And another competitor going for the very tippity top. Maybe he's lost count of the windows. Maybe it was his plan. But from the ninth ledge skips to the curtain slider. First person all day to do that. Irish, 40 seconds to go now. Saves it. Looking up. Dropping back down. Makes it across, still north of 30 seconds, onto Crash Mountain. He's got a bit of an unfortunate cycle. He has to wait for a spot in the traffic. Not trying to create one, just relying on the universe to provide. Now he's got a blocker. Irish, pushing the balls uphill. Using his blockers well, keeping his feet on the ground, making good progress. He's absolutely trucking through them. Irish, the klaxon is sounding, but he's right at the top, makes the jump. And he's going to hit the button, and Irish, for the third time in 4 tournaments, is going to be back on stage 2. Congratulations, Irish. And that makes 12 competitors through, and 12 more still to go. This is going to be a good lineup on stage 2. Will RPG445 join it? He's on a bit of a run at the moment. He's cleared in the last 2 tournaments, placing 6th and 5th respectively. Also clearing back in tournament 3 was the Spartan Sasuke host. And he's also carved out a small bit of history for himself, as in the last tournament Rog became the 100th clear on stage 1 on the Elite Challenge. So will he be able to dig his way further into the history books? Only time will tell. Still 100 seconds and change to go onto the wall. Starts to climb. Rog making light work of the course thus far. Nearly overshot that 4th peg. Choosing to stay all the way on the right. Goes for that tricky jump, but makes it look simple. Now onto the rolling log. He has crashed out here before. Rog starting to surf his way down. Makes the wrangle. Makes the dismount. Lands it. Piece of cake. And now Rog onto the spider climb. First window. To the second. To the third, to the fourth, and the fifth. Rog climbing well, 6 windows down. There's the 7th and the 8th, and skips the first ledge on the curtain slider. Rog starting to build up a bit of momentum, uses it to make the distance, slows it down, gets a save jump, goes up, drops back down, and Rog's gonna beat the curtain slider, and he's got a gap in the traffic for Crash Mountain straight away. Rog making good progress. Opening fire, using the weapons at his disposal. He's on top of the ball, it starts to roll down the hill. Got to get off of that quickly, Rog, but he's back making progress. Up and over, opening fire again. Rog using a mix of every technique under the sun, and it's working very well for him. Got 1 ball left in front, and it's going to push it out the way. Rog, he's going to make the jump, make the landing, And another competitor hits the buzzer. 18.14 seconds on the clock. I think that's Super Ninja Jake celebrating with him. Jake, of course, still yet to run this tournament. But Rog, third time in a row, moving to stage 2. And up next is Fireball, number 89. He's beaten stage 1 on 7 occasions. And unfortunately for Fireball, they were 7 in the first 9. He's been on a bit of a fail streak on stage 1. Will he snap it today? And Fireball, first competitor to land on the second bar, the bar crawl, moving exceptionally quickly as Fireball ZXZ. Now onto the bounce path, second trampoline. To the third. Lands it. Now onto the wall. Very, very quickly up. Goes the same direction as Rog, hits his head, has to do a save, but doesn't deter him in the slightest. Fireball now onto the rolling log. Shoots it ahead of him. Keeps on shooting it to build the speed. Going very fast is Fireball. Makes the landing. Now on the run to the spider climb. Into the first window. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Choosing to go all the way up to the top is Fireball. Makes the transfer to the curtain slider, still with a lot of momentum, a lot of pace. 65 seconds left on the clock as he makes it to Crash Mountain, and he's got a good break with the cycle. Fireball up and over the first ball, starts to punch, gets rolled down the hill a bit. The speed record's just gone, but Fireball's made it through nonetheless. 50.09 seconds. That is, I think, the second or third competitor with over 50 seconds of a clear in the Elite Challenge history. Comfortably the fastest time of the day though, and that's going to see Fireball for the 8th time moving on to stage 2. Up next is another returning tournament winner. This is Weapon Matt, the tournament 7 first place finisher. 4 times a stage 1 clearer before. Can he make it 5 today? And Weapon Matt through the sky mines, makes that tricky jump to the third. Now the fourth, making sure he's not going to carelessly wander off the side. It'd be heartbreaking to see Weapon Matt out this early. But he's making his way up the bar crawl very quickly now. 7th bar, 8th bar. Makes the dismount onto the bounce path as Weapon Matt. Making his way through the obstacle. He's got his eyes set on getting revenge on Crash Mountain. It took him out in his last appearance back in Tournament 9. He's got a bit of a way to go first though, and he's making his way up the wall, ledge by ledge. Weapon Matt, ledge number 6, up to the top. Now the rolling log stands in his way. Weapon Matt hops on, opens fire, the log starts to roll. Weapon Matt hanging off the front. Weapon Matt's going to slip off the front, and the rolling log claims a huge scalp. Up next is Super Ninja Jake 2. 3 times a stage 1 clearer. He's watched Rog already get through. Will he be able to join him on the second stage as Jake very quickly through the sky mines? Through the 4th one, makes the landing on the bar crawl with a save jump to Super Ninja Jake. And he's all over the place on that second bar, manages to bring it back under control again. Jake now making progress up through, beats the bar crawl, lands it on the bounce path. Bounces high. And again, and again. Jake, of course, clearing in the last tournament, going out on the U-turn, so looking to get his revenge for that stage 2 obstacle. But he's going to come up short on that 4th peg of the wall, and Jake's going to crash out early. Up next is Kira, which is another gamer tag in the ever-growing library of Joey Davis gamer tags. And he's off underway for his 130 seconds. Kira through the sky mines, like Fireball, straight to the second bar, the bar crawl, and quickly up through to the top. Makes the landing on the bounce path, big bounce to the second, and the third, and makes the landing. This is where he came unstuck in the last tournament, didn't get a jump onto the wall, but this time he does, and quickly up to the top. A little bit of frame rate there, but all good for Joey. Sends the rolling log off on his way. A very quick run already for Kira. Maybe this is the speed gamer tag of an already fast competitor. Now onto the spider climb. First window to the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the 6th, 7th, 8th, And now on to the curtain slider. Kiriaria making very, very fast progress indeed, skipping ledges. 70 seconds just ticked by, and straight onto Crash Mountain. Big jump, and he manages to clear a lot of balls there by landing on the top of them. Kiriaria making huge progress, punches a ball under the waterfall. He's going to make it through, he's going to make the jump, he's going to make the landing and hit the buzzer. 52.53, that's even faster than Fireball, and it's so fast in fact that it's actually the new stage 1 speed record. He's taken off of FreeMMO Direct, and he'll be very happy about that. 15 competitors now through to the second stage. Will Pedroman join them? Once again, wielding the trusty sandwich, of which he cleared in the last tournament with. Another competitor going out on the U-turn in the last tournament, does Pedro. Now, onto that second Sky Mine, looking to make the jump to the third. Staying crouched, keeping things under control. So that fourth Sky Mine, now down to the bar crawl, sticks the landing. Up to the second bar, the third for Pedro. Fourth, fifth, 6, 7, 8. Pedroman looking smooth. Onto the bounce path, there's the second trampoline, and the third clears the gap, makes the landing, now onto the wall. First peg to the second, now the third. Sticking to the left hand side a la Caden Wyatt from earlier, and Pedro makes it through, all the way up. Now onto the rolling log, has to put the sandwich away for a second to help send the log off on its way. Pedro surfing well, does the wrangle, does the dismount, makes the landing. 70 seconds now onto the spider climb. Re-equips the sandwich for good luck. Second window to the third. Now the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and the eighth window for Pedro. Makes his way onto the curtain slider now. Second ledge to the third. To the fourth. Lines up the big jump to the fifth. Lands it. Saves. Gets it back under control. Goes up high. Seems he had a thought about skipping it, but Pedro choosing the safer option. 33 seconds now. Crash Mountain lying between him and a fifth attempt at the second stage. Pedro gets hit instantly. Gets his feet back down and gets them pedaling. 21 seconds. Pedro another hurdle and another. Starting to punch them with the sandwich. Pedro getting rolled backwards. Not the direction he needs to be going. Getting back some forward progress now is Pedro, but it is slow going. They're ganging up against him as Pedro. He's right at the waterfall and he's going to slip off the side. Pedro again, another competitor within inches of success, crashing out. And now we're at competitor number 94. This is FreeMMO Direct, a 4-time tournament winner. A further second and third and 2 fourth places for free. 9 times a stage 2 competitor. He's just lost his stage 1 speed record. Can he get it back? Free beats the Sky Mines with ease. Now up the bar crawl. Makes the landing onto the bounce path, making his way through. He's trying to recover after a rare slip up in the last tournament, which caused him to crash out on Crash Mountain. And Free already onto the wall, making quick progress. Skips up to the top. Next up is the rolling log. Free opening fire, the log on its merry way. Free with a wrangle, Free with a dismount, lands it. 85 seconds still on the clock. Free making great time. Now up the spider climb to the 4th window, and the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and all the way to the top. Free straight onto the curtain slider. Starts to skip the ledges. Free building up a big head of steam. He's made it with 65 seconds as well on Crash Mountain. He's choosing to wait though for a better gap. Free now making progress. Hurdles the first couple of balls. Starts to punch. Gets pushed back down. There goes the fastest time of the day. It's not going to go to Free. Now he's just got to focus on getting through the stage. Keeping his feet on the ground and moving those legs forward is going to be a way to go. Hurdles 4 balls at once, makes it under the waterfall. Free makes the landing. 36.5 seconds. Yet another competitor through. We've blown way past the Elite Challenge clear record. And FreeMMO Direct back. That is going to be 10 times a Stage 2 competitor. Way to go, Free. Now, can his fellow PC buddy, the Worker of Meme, make it through? He's made it there 3 times already, including in the last tournament. Now, Meme making good progress through the Sky Mines. Makes the dismount to the bar crawl, lands it. 2nd bar, 3rd, 4th, 5th, saves again. 6th, 7th, and 8th. The Worker of Meme up to the top. Now onto the bounce path. 2nd trampoline. Big bounce to the 3rd trampoline. Big bounce again. Lands it. Now starts his climb up the wall. The Worker of Meme sprints into the ledges, uses them to stop his momentum, and keeps the bit of upward to make it up. Seems a bit of a unique technique, but it's never let him down. Now Meme onto the rolling log. Rolling along smoothly. Meme with a double save and then a dismount. Now onto the spider climb. 1st window. Sideways to the 2nd, back to the 3rd, zigzagging up the structure. The Worker of Meme moving very well. Now onto the curtain slider. Save jumps. Goes for distance, only just makes it. Saves again. Goes up high and keeps going higher. The Worker of Meme all the way through to safety. Now he's got to line up Crash Mountain. He's also shooting the balls up in the rack to give himself some space. Really messing with the spawn cycle. Meme, he's got a gap, but he's choosing not to use it. He's waiting for the next one. He's got the time to, but it is ticking away from him. 30 seconds now. Slowing them down again. Chooses his moment. And he's going to send it. Meme punches the first group. Starts to bounce on top of them. Not making much progress, but they're also not pushing him backwards. Meme up and over once again. Makes it all the way through. Gets one on the head, but he's going to make the jump. Land it, and 10.05 seconds left on the clock for the Worker of Meme. And that's his 4th time getting to the end of stage 1. See you on stage 2, Meme. Up next, we have Eternal Flame 395. He's also been to stage 2 5 times, just like Hunter. And Eternal Flame making quick progress through the Sky Mines, absolutely undaunted at all. Now onto the bar crawl. Eternal Flame, a very fast competitor, not gonna look to waste much time early. Through the bar crawl with ease. Now onto the bounce path. 2nd trampoline, keeping it low, keeping the speed. Eternal Flame landing. Now onto the wall. 1st peg, 2nd to the 3rd, and the 4th. Eternal climbs all the way up to the top. Now the rolling log sets it off in front. Eternal in the last tournament also made it all the way to stage 2 with a 7th place overall. Going out on the undershooting the vehicle ramps. So has a target to aim for, does Eternal. The personal best in the last tournament as well. And Eternal climbing up the spider climb. There's the 7th window and the 8th. Now to the curtain slider. And Eternal, another competitor, moving incredibly quickly. Halfway through the curtain slider, 60 seconds still on the clock. Makes it all the way through, uses the low path. Now onto Crash Mountain. And Eternal against Crash Mountain has beaten it several times in the past. Knows what's in store. Stops the ball, gets knocked back, but makes it all the way back to the ball before they've even started to move. Now has a blocker. Has them all stacked up. Eternal now up underneath the waterfall, trying to get a ball underneath. And they're bouncing over Eternal's head. Eternal clears a path, makes the jump, makes the landing. 31.32 seconds for Eternal Flame. And we have yet another competitor making it through to the 2nd stage. Congratulations, Eternal. Doesn't make the jump back onto Crash Mountain, but we'll see you on stage 2 once again. Next up is Fluffy B, who was the first competitor on the course in the last tournament. Made it all the way to the start of the French twist before coming up short and finishing 4th. So Fluffy now looking for a 3rd crack at stage 2. And more importantly, another crack at his nemesis, the curtain slider. So Fluffy aiming to go deep once again. Has his sights set on his first stage 3 in Halo jumping. Could that occur today? He's got plenty of stage 1 even still standing in his way. Let's see how he goes up the wall. 2nd peg to the 3rd. Now the 4th. And the 5th. And the 6th. Fluffy B all the way up to the top. Up next is the rolling log. Fluffy on board, opens fire. The log starts to roll. Fluffy on top, still shooting at it. Makes the dismount. Now the spider climb. Crouches into it, first window. Takes a pause to the second. Now starts to zigzag. Fluffy B, making progress. 7 window, 8 window. Now on to his nemesis, the curtain slider. He figured it out in the last tournament. Does he remember how it works? Bit ropey, but manages to get under control again. Fluffy going up high, and Fluffy B 2 tournaments in a row has beaten his nemesis. And now he's lining up Crash Mounted. Gets pushed back by the first ball, but starts to fight back. He's got himself a blocker. They're stacking up against him, but they're just giving him new blockers. Fluffy takes a hit, keeps on going, swishing that sword, making progress up the hill, almost all the way to the top. There's 4 balls in front of him, knocks them off the track. He's right at the waterfall. Fluffy takes one to the head, but he's gonna be unshaken, and he's gonna get through, and another competitor through. That's 2 competitors with 17.69 seconds. Ties Disappoint for speed and makes it 19 competitors through, but more importantly for Fluffy, that's 2 in a row. Let's see if he can finally achieve his stage 3 dream. Now here's someone who has achieved a stage 3 on the Elite Challenge before. It's the first place finisher from tournament 6. This is Vulcan. He's been through to stage 2 6 times in his career, chasing number 7 today. Last tournament he came a cropper on the French twist in 3rd place in the tournament. So Vulcan looking to go 2 better and looking to go a few obstacles further. Making light work of the sky mines already, easy work of the bar crawl. Makes the first bounce on the bounce path. Vulcan to the 2nd trampoline. Now the 3rd. Goes high, lands it. Now onto the wall. Goes to that left hand side. Moving up in a diagonal is Vulcan. All the way to the top. No dramas there whatsoever. Now the rolling log. Vulcan opening fire. Keeps on shooting the log, building up a bit of a head of steam. Gets very low, nearly walks off the front a la Weapon Mat. But Vulcan makes the landing. Now to the spider climb. First window. To the 2nd. And the 3rd. To the 4th. And the 5th. And the 6th. 7th. All the way to the top for Vulcan. Now onto the spider climb. To the 4th ledge already. Big sprint to the 5th. Goes up high. Only just about makes that ledge, but isn't shaken by it at all. Vulcan, in fact, picks up the pace through. Now onto Crash Mountain. Has a ball despawn in front of him. Vulcan now, he's got a blocker. And another competitor making good use of the balls. Turning the fact that they hit him into a blocking technique. Seeming to be very common this tournament. Vulcan, he's right up at the edge already. He's got 2 blockers, he's pushed them out the way. Vulcan makes the landing, 23.28 seconds, and that is 20 competitors now onto the 2nd stage, and still with the top 2 finishers of the last tournament still to go. And here's last tournament's runner-up. This is Smokey Massacre, the host of Halo Ninja Warrior. He's chasing a 4th stage 1 clear. Cleared in tournament 1, 8, and in tournament 12. And he's got his eyes on beating the French twist for the first time. And Smokey on to the bounce path. Taking a couple of touches on each one to keep things under control. Still moving with a lot of speed, over 100 seconds to the wall despite the cautious 3rd obstacle. Smokey all the way up to the top. And now the rolling log. This has caught him out before, so Smokey knows he needs to show it some respect, but no fear at all. Surfing it down, gets the wrangle, double wrangle, gets the dismount, and Smokey over 80 seconds left as he hits the spider climb. First window to the 2nd, and the 3rd. Smokey climbing towards victory, all the way up to the top, 8th window, now onto the curtain slider. Keeping the pace high, makes the big jump. Goes up high, choosing to go even higher, all the way, high path to the top. And now, Crash Mountain, Smokey charging up the plasma pistol, finds the gap, And he's gonna keep the plasma pistol charged, opens fire, pushes the balls back into each other. Smokey hopping around, gets pushed back a bit. Still plenty of time. He's got the plasma pistol. It's a very effective weapon against Crash Mountain. And he's pushing the final few balls out the way, makes the jump himself. 31.55 seconds for Smokey. Tries to make the jump back and fails, but Smokey Massacre to stage 2 once again. Next up is the first place finisher from the last tournament. This is Sonic Fan. Also chasing a 4th berth in stage 2, but Sonic having one of the most impressive records on the Elite Challenge. 3 attempts at the course, 3 successful stage 1s, a 3rd place finish, a 2nd place finish, and a 1st place finish. So Sonic looking to keep on that strong wave of form through the bounce path. 3rd trampoline, big bounce, makes the landing, now onto the wall. Over 100 seconds once again for Sonic, looking very smooth, this time looking fast. Up to the top of the wall, now the rolling log. Makes a jump onto the log and sets it in motion. Sonic Fan down the track, gets the wrangle, goes for the dismount, makes the landing. Now the spider climb, lines up the first window, save jumps to the 2nd, now to the 3rd, just about makes the distance there. Sonic living it a bit on the edge, but he's making progress nonetheless. All the way 7th window, 8th window, to the curtain slider, landing on that first ledge. A lot of people have been skipping it. Sonic, he shows no fear on this obstacle. He has a plan, he has a strategy, and he makes it work once again. Sonic now only Crash Mountain to beat, and he makes his way onto the track. Sonic going uphill. The ball's almost fearing from Sonic Fan. Makes it all the way to the top, almost uncontested. Starts to burrow his way through almost. Sonic Fan taking his time, lines it up. He's even got time to celebrate at the end. 30 seconds tick by, 29.14 seconds, and Sonic Fan back to stage 2 once again, keeping his 100% record intact. And that's going to make 22 competitors moving on. Fastest time and the new stage 1 speed record for Kiriria, with Fireball just in behind. A very impressive run from Junsato Cyan is 3rd fastest ahead of Fremo Direct. Smokey Massacre and Eternal Flame also above 30 seconds. Then it is Soul Reaper 1025, Sonic Fan, Tunby for his first appearance on stage 2, Vulcan making it through, Caden Wyatt, Spartan Walnut, K-Fly for the first time as well, RPG 445 and Disappoint. Tying in time with Fluffy B ahead of Tricky Cyrus, the worker of meme, D-Mills NY for a very popular clear. Irish makes it through again, as does Hunt Unit 751, and the new gamer tag of TX Hot T being rewarded for his first appearance on the 2nd stage. And what those 22 competitors will have in store remains unchanged from the last tournament, beginning with the pyramid scheme. These 3 pyramids with the studs on, make it across them any way you see fit, any way you can, and then make the slide down off that final little nub onto the mine shaft. Down the corridor, up the climb, making it up from ledge to ledge, where you are greeted by the Olympic rings, the 5 antennas. Make the antenna jumps across the gap, and then you will be moving on to the Mongoose portion of the course, starting off with the Mongoose cliffhanger. As with that small jump in between, the angled road, drive the Mongoose along, then you have the wall turn that is called the U-turn. Make your way over the bumps, avoid the pitfalls, don't overshoot, and down towards the new, for this tournament, the cattle grid. Make your way along one of the various split rails, make the drop down to the 2nd stage of the obstacle, and then you're greeted with the final obstacle, the rolling road. A rounded beam, make your way across the little jump, make your way up, and then it's a speed check to the final. Make your way through all of that in under 100 seconds, and you'll be taking on stage 3. Alright, let's see how our competitors fare. And first up is the first man through. This is TX Hot T. He was the slowest through stage 1, but he's made it to stage 2 nonetheless. Let's see how he does. Stage 2 debut for TX Hot T. Makes the jump, trying to go up the side of the pyramid, but he's going to slide off instantly, and TX Hot T down and out already. Up next is Tricky Cyrus, another competitor with the number 29, making their way to the second stage for their first time. Cyrus, bit of a stutter step, but now onto the pyramid scheme. Second nub to the third, and the fourth, up to the top of the first pyramid, down the backside, makes the jump to the second, starts to climb again, all the way up and over the top. Big jump to the third pyramid. Cyrus, 80 seconds now left on the clock. He's going to make his way over the third, slide down the back, makes the jump into the mine shaft. Now along the corridor for Tricky Cyrus, makes his way up to the first platform, the second and the third. Then it's the halfway ledge of the climb. Couple more platforms to go. Cyrus getting a little bit disorientated, but he's figured out his bearings now. Final little ledge, big jump, beats the obstacle, now into the Olympic rings. Saving it on the first antenna a couple of times, now the second. Cyrus lining up the third, but he's undershot, and Tricky Cyrus down and out on that third Olympic ring. Now up next we have K-Fly. 13 tournaments, and this is now his first appearance on the second stage. Said it was his tournament. Back in tournament 11 he made the call, and he's proven it right so far, but K-Fly slips off the first pyramid, doesn't quite make it to the second, and he's out. Next up is Spartan Walnut, getting cheered on by Soul Reaper, who's yet to compete in this stage 2. Walnut, 100 seconds are underway onto the pyramid scheme, making his way up to the top of the first pyramid. Down the back, makes the jump to the second, saves it. Back up to the top, slides down again, big jump to the third, lands a little lower, but he's climbing all the way to the top for Walnut, sliding down the back, makes the dismount into the mine shaft. Now along the corridor it goes. Walnut doesn't want to fall in the gaps, starts to climb, uses the second ledge, now the third, and to the halfway turnaround, and to the fourth. Walnut still climbing, and he's going to slip off. It looked like he got his footing, but no, not quite, sliding off the side. And now it's the first competitor who's been here before, Junsato Cyan. Will that experience count? This is his third attempt at this stage, and Cyan straight away, big slide up that first pyramid. Almost made it all the way to the top in one bound. Cyan now to the second pyramid. Up and over the top. Big jump to the third. Saves it. Starts to climb again. And he's going to big jump into the mine shaft. Makes the landing. Cyan making progress. Now he starts to climb. Skips that second ledge. That's the experience of Cyan. He knows that you can do that. Up to the top. Now the Olympic rings. Cyan, third ring. Beats Cyrus. And beats the obstacle. And now mounts up for the Mongoose cliffhanger. Mongoose is not Cyan's strong suit, and he's looking out of control. He's making progress, but he's going to slip off the side. Junsato Cyan out on the Mongoose cliffhanger again. Now up next is Hunter Unit 751. This is his 6th attempt at the second stage in his The Elite Challenge career. He's been on multiple times described as an average-ass racer, but can an average-ass racer do the Mongoose section? I expect so, but we'll have to see if he can even get there. Come on, Hunter. Making his way through the second pyramid, jumps to the third, starts to climb up the third, over the top, slides down the back, and Hunter into the mine shaft. Making his way along, doesn't want to fall in the gaps, first ledge. He's going to skip just like Cyan, up to the halfway turnaround. He's going to skip again, Hunter to the back, makes the ledge, now onto the Olympic rings. Second antenna, choosing to slow the pace down, to the third, and the fourth, lands it, goes to the fifth, and he's going to make it. Now Hunter onto the Mongoose. Has a lot more experience with Mongooses than many of the other competitors on this stage, and you can see the difference between Hunter and Cyan. Hunter keeping it smooth, beats the obstacle, carries a bit of momentum, now slows it right down for the U-turn, has a plan, sticks to it, and now it's the cattle grid. And you can see Hunter is scared of this obstacle. Goes very slow indeed, keeping it under control with a bit of a burst of pace, makes the drop down. He's raggedy, but he's gunning it, and Hunter's made it now onto the rolling road. Makes the little hop, and now Hunter, he's got plenty of time. Can he make the speed check at the top? 15 seconds, 14, makes the jump, dismounts, lands it. Klaxon's gonna sound, but it's not gonna deter him. Hunter Unit 751, for the first time in his The Elite Challenge career, beats stage 2 and will be moving on to stage 3. Way to go, Hunter. And let's see if anybody else can join him. Congratulations. And now the man who's been calling him an average-ass racer. Hunter's made it through. Can D-Mills make it through? One of the members of the team championship leaders of the HT Supercross series, so you'd imagine if D-Mills can get to the Mongooses, he'll be alright. He's got a few jumping obstacles between him and there. But D-Mills, over the top of the second pyramid, jumps to the third, makes the landing, starts to climb again. D-Mills, up and over the top, beats his first stage 2 obstacle. Now into the mine shaft, making his way along the corridor. First ledge, goes to the second, and the third, going back and forth, choosing not to skip. D-Mills, making the way up the climb to the back, and now he's gonna jump to the ledge, makes it, saves. Now the Olympic rings, going for the first antenna, save jumps. This is probably the hardest thing he's come across in his Halo jumping career. D-Mills now to the second antenna, making slow but steady progress, goes for the third, lands that as well, needs to make the drop down to the fourth, and he's overshot D-Mills down and out, only 2 jumps from where he'd feel comfortable. Up next is Disappoint, been here once before, will the second time be the charm? 100 seconds for Disappoint, and he's underway. Climbing up the first pyramid, slides down the back, now to the second. Climbs up once again. Stage 2's changed a fair bit since the last time Disappoint made it this far, so let's see if he'll be able to handle the new obstacles. And down the mine shaft with ease. Just about makes the hop up, goes for the skip. Looks like he's hanging on right by his toes, but Disappoint making the jumps count. No, he slid off the side, he overcorrected. Disappoint crashes out on the mine shaft. Next up is the competitor who ran stage 1 directly after him. This is Caden Wyatt, back here for a third time. Let's see how Caden will do. Will it be third time's the charm? Up and over the first pyramid, makes a jump to the second, save jumps. Up to the top and over the third, jumps for the third, makes the landing, sticks it, starts to climb once again. Caden Wyatt over the top, off the backside, now into the mine shaft, making quick progress down the corridor. Makes the first jump, makes the second, and the third. Caden not skipping the ledges, using every single one of them. It's a little bit slower, but Caden moving well. Still just under a minute as he lines up for the Olympic rings. First antenna, save jump, second antenna, goes for the third, makes it, saves it, goes for the fourth, makes it, saves it again. Fifth antenna, Caden, no, he's going to come up short. He got the height but not the distance, and Caden Wyatt down and out. Now back at the start, this is the final stage 2 debutant. This is Tun V, clearing the turret off the start platform before his 100 seconds begin. And Tun V, the final new blood on the second stage. How will he fare? Already onto the second pyramid, up and over the top, slides down the back. Tun V now to the third, up to the top, over the point, slides down the back, and now into the mine shaft, and Tun V using the sides of the mine shaft. It's a different approach from a fresh perspective. Tun V, no, he's slipped around, he saved it though. He's panicking, he's made it back up to the first ledge. He tried to touch and go off that second ledge. Didn't work out for him. Tun V using all sorts of faces of this obstacle that we've never seen be used before, but he makes it through. Now onto the Olympic rings. Second ring, saves it, goes to the third, straight to the fourth with another save jump. Fifth ring for Tun V, he makes it, now onto the Mongoose. Third competitor we've seen get this far today. delicately onto that angled road. He looks a bit wayward, but Tunvi making good progress, lands it. Now lining up for the U-turn. Goes in, goes over the bumps. Tunvi sends it for the landing. He's made it, got to turn around, and now down towards the cattle grid. Another competitor showing some real intimidation. Just like Hunter approaching it very slow, Tunvi makes the turn off the drop, but he's going to slip into the gap. Can he get out? No, he can't. Tunvi slips through, and the cattle grid claims its first victim. Up next is Soul Reaper 1025, third attempt at the second stage, and despite being first place in a tournament, hasn't actually beaten this stage before, so Soul could be breaking new ground today, and if he does, it'll be a hell of a performance. Soul up and over the second pyramid, now to the third, all the way up to the top, slides down the backside, Soul Reaper into the mineshaft, making his way along the corridor. Soul starts to climb, elects to not try and skip the ledges. Soul, a bit more traditional approach, unlike Tunvi's bouncing off the walls method. Soul up to the top, makes the transfer, now onto the Olympic rings. Second ring, very quick to the third, drops to the fourth and the fifth, and Soul lands it. And Soul has a similar amount of experience on a Mongoose with Hunter, so Soul, you'd have to say, bit more in his element than some other people would be. And looking at his approach to the Mongoose cliffhanger, Soul dialed in. Now onto the U-turn. Really loses a lot of momentum. Going to have to back down and try again. Doesn't go for a run-up, does Soul. He goes to try and go high and arc it, but he doesn't make the distance. And Soul Reaper slips through the gap and down and out. Up next is Crown Ferret 19. His third attempt on the second stage. He's been out on the mineshaft before. Let's see how Irish goes today. Starts to climb up the pyramid scheme. Gone on record as saying he's not a big fan of this obstacle. Has to take it with an element of caution. But Irish making progress. Second pyramid. Slides down the side. Manages to save it. Transfers to the third. Almost up to the top for Irish, but he's going to slip off that final nub, saves it further down, but doesn't quite manage to complete the save, and Irish is out. And this stage has been wiping out our competitors, with only Hunter having a brief look at success. Let's see if his fellow course host can make good on this. This is RPG445, chasing his first stage 2 success. And Rog up and over the first pyramid very quickly. Second pyramid likewise. Lands on the third. Climbs that as well. Up and over the point. Slides down the back. Now into the mineshaft. Rog making progress along. He's had a strong run of form at the moment. Will that continue today? In the mineshaft. Skipping that second ledge. Up to the top. Now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna. To the second. Saves it. To the third. And the fourth. Saves it again. Now to the fifth. Rog through and onto the Mongoose. He's done well at this sort of stuff before. Rog under control on the Mongoose cliffhanger. Slow and steady wins the race in this case, and Rog across. Now onto the U-turn. Lines it up. Goes for it. Goes high. Does a spin. Lands on the tail of the goose. Can he control it? Yes, he can. Nearly panics and drives off, but Rog gets it back under control, and now down towards the cattle grid. 30 seconds to go. Rog choosing the left-hand path, drops down, aiming for the middle. Has to avoid that hole that claimed Tunvi, but Rog gets it back on the split rail, and now onto the rolling road. Makes the little hop. Rog, similar sort of time to Hunter. Up the long drive towards the speed check. Rog onto the jump, makes the little hop, lands it. Hits the landmine, 6 seconds left on the clock, and RPG445 for his first time has cleared the Elite Challenger Stage 2, and just like Hunter will be moving on to Stage 3 for the first time. That's 2 course hosts through. Let's see how the rest of the competitors do. Up next is Fireball ZXZ. He's cleared Stage 2 twice in the past. Will that experience do him dividends on this Stage 2? He's not been here in a while, but Fireball, 100 seconds on the clock. He's making his way through the pyramid scheme, all the way over the second pyramid, now to the third, up to the fourth, up and over, down the back, now into the mine shaft. Fireball making his way along the corridor. Up, now skips the ledge on the climb. Second set of ledges, skips another one. Fireball up to the top, makes the jump, now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna to the second, quickly to the third, to the fourth and the fifth, and Fireball makes it to the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Another frequent Halo Racing competitor. You'd imagine Fireball would be able to look comfortable at this sort of stuff. Beats the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Now climbing the U-turn. Very high arc for Fireball. Lands it on his nose, nearly slides off. Spins it back around, and Fireball now attacking the cattle grid. Down the middle. Big turn of speed from Fireball. He's going for speed across it all. Makes it through despite the bumps. Does the little hop. Fireball down the rolling road. Now it's just a speed check jump. Fireball knocks the pace off. Hits the landmine. 23.85 seconds. Absolutely flying through stage 2. And Fireball sets a new stage 2 speed record in the process. And with back-to-back competitors making it through, is this a sign the floodgates may open? Well, here's a competitor that's very at home keeping this sort of momentum going. This is Kiriaria, the new stage 1 speed record holder, sets off for his 100 seconds. He's been and beaten this stage 3 times in the past, so he knows what's in store. Kiriaria up and over that second pyramid, now to the third. Starts to climb up and over the top, slides down the backside. Making his way along the corridor, up now, skips the ledges on the climb of the mine shaft. Once again, second skip to the platform, now into the Olympic rings. First antenna, second, third, very quickly, fourth, fifth, just as fast. Over a minute left as he gets onto the Mongoose. Mongoose Cliffhanger. Joey hanging it out, taking it a bit steadier, guns it for the platform, lands it. Now onto the U-turn, up and over the bumps, makes the landing, gets it turned around, and now Kiriaria against the cattle grid, taking it slow along the side, makes the drop, starts to pick the pace up again. Kiriaria now onto the rolling road, makes the first little hop, plenty of time. If anything, he might even be a bit quicker than Fireball. Runs up towards the speed check, knocks it off early. Carefully makes the jump, 25.17 seconds, and Fireball's speed record didn't last long. Joey taking both stage 1 and stage 2 speed records in the same tournament, and that's 3 competitors in a row through. And it doesn't get any better for stage 2. This is Frame Direct. He's beaten it 5 times already. Can he make it 6 today and be another competitor to kick the door down? Starts to climb up the pyramid scheme. Free, up and over the top to the second pyramid. Climbs up, over the top, sliding down the back. Free, making it good progress up the third pyramid, up and over, slides it down, now into the mine shaft. Along the corridor, gets to the climb. First ledge, skips the second, straight to the third, halfway turnaround. Skips again. Free, to the landing platform. Now into the Olympic rings. First antenna, second, third, fourth, fifth antenna. Free, beats the obstacle, hops on the Mongoose, now onto the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Keeping it under control is Free, a bit slower than the last few competitors, but looking smooth. Makes the landing, now onto the U-turn. Scrambles up and over the bumps, does a flip. He's going to roll onto the wheels and Free styling it out, now onto the cattle grid. Keeps the pace slow, keeps it controlled. Free looking to line up the drop nice and carefully, nose dives, but stays on that middle split rail, and Free creeping through and onto the rolling road. Makes the little hop, does Free. He's another competitor absolutely flying through, still 20 seconds to go. Can he make the speed check? Yes, he does. Frame Direct hits the landmine. 15.88 seconds through, and that's 5 competitors through, including the last 4 in a row. It truly does feel like the floodgates are opened. The most successful stage 1 has already led to the most successful stage 2, and we still have some of the best competitors left to go. Including the Worker of Meme, who is here for his 4th attempt at stage 2. He's made it pretty deep in the pass, not managed to clear the stage, but he's stayed dry on a few occasions, the time limit being his biggest opponent on the second stage. But Meme climbs up and over the third pyramid, beats the pyramid scheme. Now down the hole of the mineshaft, starts to climb, also skipping the ledges on the way up. Worker of Meme up to the top, makes the dismount. Now onto the Olympic rings, quickly to the second antenna, to the third, wasting little time. All the way through to the fifth, beats the obstacle. Another competitor over a minute left onto the Mongoose Cliffhanger. And the Worker of Meme, cautious approach, keeping it under control, hugged up against the wall. Meme beats the obstacle, now onto the U-turn. Gets a bit of a kick sideways, but makes the landing. It is narrowed in this tournament, and Meme careful not to overshoot. Now onto the cattle grid. Meme going for a bit of a bumpy ride, lines it up. He's got it a bit stuck. Meme in trouble. Has to dismount. Gonna try and save the Mongoose, because if it falls through, it is impossible to beat the course. Meme punches it back out of the hole. You will get through. You will keep going. And the Worker of Meme, another rough ride on the second phase of the cattle grid, but he's made it through. Makes the little hop on the rolling road. Only the speed check to go between Meme and his first time on stage 3. And Meme's overshot. He goes straight over the top of the landmines, and the Worker of Meme crashes out, overshooting the finish. I didn't think I would see that in this tournament. Now up next, Eternal Flame 395. Coming into this tournament was tied with Hunter Unit as the most experienced competitor on stage 2 without a clear. Hunter's since made his way to stage 3. Can Eternal follow suit? Up and over the second pyramid, makes the jump to the third. Climbing up and over, sliding down the back, Eternal Flame. Now into the mineshaft. Along the corridor goes Eternal. Now starts to climb. Skips that second ledge. Second set, skips again, and Eternal up to the tippity top. Beats the mineshaft. Now onto the Olympic rings. Has come a cropper here before. And Eternal save jumps, but gets the momentum back going. Big save on that fourth one. Second save. And Eternal having to recenter. Still over 50 seconds. Over halftime left onto the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Eternal not looking the most confident on the Mongoose. Makes the little hop. Beats the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Now onto the U-turn. Goes low. Hits the bump and stops momentum dead, and Eternal Flame sliding down and out. And stage 2 starting to fight back against our competitors. And up next is Fluffy Bee, who has never beaten a stage 2 in his Halo jumping career. Probably not the best news to see the wave of clears get ended, but Fluffy, undeterred into the pyramid scheme, scrambles up and over the second one, slides down the back, now onto the third pyramid, makes his way up and over, down the backside, makes the jump into the mineshaft. Now along the corridor goes Fluffy Bee. Failed stage 2 in the last tournament, but the obstacle he failed has been moved to the third stage, so Fluffy potentially has a good shot at this. Fluffy now onto the Olympic rings. First antenna, second, third, fourth, fifth antenna. Fluffy lands it, mounts up onto the Mongoose, creeps it round the corner onto the Mongoose Cliffhanger. Fluffy, he's got plenty of time in the bank, starts to pick the pace back up, makes the landing. Now onto the U-turn, goes very high indeed, a la Fireball. Big nosedive, but makes it onto the landing platform. Now Fluffy onto the cattle grid. We've seen people have issues with this before. Makes the drop, doesn't fall in the same hole as Tunvi does, but overcorrects. Fluffy, he's in trouble now. We've seen that Meme managed to save it. Fluffy's trying to get it back righted, but it goes through the slot, and Fluffy Bee, that's going to be an elimination on stage 2 once again. Now up next is Vulcan. He's cleared this stage in the past, having got to stage 3. Can he do it again today? Up and onto the course. His 100 seconds start to tick down. Vulcan over the first pyramid. Now up and over the top of the second. Sliding down the back. Climbing up the third. Over the top. Slides down again. Into the mineshaft. Making progress along the corridor. Starts to climb. Electing not to go for the skip. Vulcan makes it nonetheless. Second set of ledges, doesn't skip either. Keeps climbing all the way to the top. Now to the dismount. And straight onto the Olympic rings. Has to save on the first one. Nearly came a cropper. Managed to pull it back. Second ring. Save jump to the third. Straight to the fourth. Save jump again. And the fifth ring. Vulcan just past half time. Onto the Mongoose. Another DRL regular, so should have good vehicle control, and Vulcan creeping his way along the Mongoose cliffhanger. Starts to pick up the pace, makes the jump, and now onto the U-turn, goes high, clips the wall, he's gone backwards, he's jammed it in reverse! Jammed it in reverse again, saves it twice on the U-turn, great car control there from Vulcan, and straight into the cattle grid, makes the drop. That was two amazing saves. Managed to spin all the way around, jam it in reverse twice. Vulcan now on the rolling road, 15 seconds to go. Just got the speed check to go. And he's overslowed. Vulcan met the speed check and didn't make the jump. He overslowed, and that's going to take him out as well. Two competitors left standing, or left to run of the 22 that made it this far. Smoky Massacre now on the course. Just like Vulcan and Fluffy, he went out on the French Twist last tournament. And that's now on stage 3, so has that freed Smokey up for his first run at stage 3? He's making tough work of the second pyramid, but he makes it across nonetheless. Smokey climbing up the third, over the top, sliding down the back, now into the mineshaft. His confidence will be boosted by the fact that his fellow course hosts Hunter and Rog have both made it through, but Smokey skips the ledge, doesn't make it, and he's crashed out on the mineshaft. That's very early for Smokey. And now the final competitor up to take on stage 2 is Sonic Fan. The first place finisher in the last tournament hasn't managed to get to stage 3 in the Elite Challenge career yet, but he's had strong performances in every tournament. And unless he's going to go for his worst placement so far, he should be trying to get to the end of the stage. Sonic up and over that third pyramid, slides down the back, now into the mineshaft. Going close to the wall, doesn't quite use the Ton V strap, but hanging out on the side. Makes the ledge skips, once again, up to the top. Beats the mineshaft, now into the Olympic rings, first antenna, straight to the second, almost over jumps, has to pull it back, saves it twice. Sonic lining up the third, now the fourth, save jumps again. One more antenna to go. Sonic Fan beats that. Now onto the Mongoose. Still has over half time left. Inches onto the Mongoose cliffhanger. Starts to pick the pace up. Sonic a bit more comfortable looking than some other people so far. Beats the obstacle. Has a brief reset before the U-turn. Goes up high. Drops down. Spins around. And now Sonic against the cattle grid. He hasn't faced this yet, and he's going to take it at full speed, and Sonic flies through the obstacle. Now just the rolling road to beat, makes the little hop, just the speed check to go. We've seen someone go too fast, we've seen someone go too slow. Can Sonic Goldilocks it and get it just right? Yes he does, lands it, backs up, hits the landmine, 13.55 seconds, and Sonic Fan becomes the 6th competitor this tournament to make it through to stage 3. A record-setting number, and 3 of them getting there for the first time. Way to go, Sonic. Can he defend his first place? Well, the stage 2 clears look like this. Kiriera with the fastest time and the new speed record once again. And once again, Fireball in second fastest. Fremamo Direct with a good third place time ahead of Sonic Fan, Hunter Unit 751 and RPG 445. All 3 of them getting it to stage 2 for their first time. Now let's see how they get on with the new look stage 3. And let's see what's in store for our 6 remaining competitors. This should be good. Opening up as per the last tournament with the orange ramp up to the disaster box, remaining unchanged. Always a good first initial test for any stage 3 competitor. Make your way up, drop down, then back up and drop down once again, using the ledges on the side to affect your momentum. Then you're greeted with the new pointy path. I don't know why I said the new pointy path. It's exactly the same as it's always been. Make your way across the cones to the landing platform and then onto the unchanged Dangerous. Make your way through the hanging gaps and you're onto the cliffhanger. Zigzag up the wall as it angles in against you from ledge to ledge until you get all the way up to the top and you're greeted with the Trust Fall. It's just a big drop, there's a ledge at the bottom. Hopefully you can hit it just right, as you can't even see the landing platform until after you've committed. Then you're onto the Globe Grasp. The circles in the sky have taken people out before, and then stage 3 has been a bit changed. It's moved from stage 2 to the third stage. It's the French Twist, and it's proven a lethal test for our competitors in the past. Let's see how at home it feels on stage 3. The competitors mount the Mongoose, make it across the twisting rail, and then you'll be on the other side greeted with the Doom Gaps. You can take either side of the wall, making the corner jumps as they get progressively harder, narrower, shorter, you name it. Make your way across and you're greeted with the Destiny Rails. Nobody has ever beaten this obstacle in the Elite Challenge history, but if you are the first person, you'll be able to get to the end of the stage and hit the landmine, and then you will become the first person to ever make it into the distance for the Elite Challenge's Stage 4. No time limit, it's purely competitor versus the course. And up first, being supported by Joey Davis, this is Hunter Unit 751 making his Stage 3 debut. The Ninja Warrior of Halo host getting this bar for the first time. Not the most confident about it, but he's going to psych himself up before he takes on the Disaster Box. There's Joey falling to his doom. He'll be running this course later. Hunter really taking his time, psyching himself up, but underway now into the Disaster Box. First ledge to the second, cross to the third, needs to make sure to not get stuck under the lip. Gets himself free, now to the fourth. Up and over the central divide. Into the drop. First ledge on the drop, straight to the second. Manages to save it. Lines up the little hop. And he makes it into the second stage of the Disaster Box. Second ledge of the second stage. Keeps on climbing. Third ledge. Gets unstuck. Now goes to the fourth. And he makes the landing. Hunter. Up and over, final drop down section. Sends it for the first ledge, gets the save jump straight to the second, manages to save it, and he beats the Disaster Box. And now onto the pointy path. And this will be therapeutic for many competitors from the old Halo Reach days. Ninja Warrior of Halo's Pillar Path greatly inspired this obstacle, and now we see its creator run this, and he's overshot the second cone. Hunter Unit 751's good run ends here. Now from the Niwa host to the Spartan Sasuke host, and once again we see Joey Davis plummeting to his death in the background. This is RPG 445, another stage 3 debutant, lining himself up for the Disaster Box, and Rog underway. First ledge. Looks to hop to the second, makes the jump. Now to the third, lining it up, and across. Rog, one more to go on this section. He's going to make sure he's unstuck from that wall. Get a sprint, make the jump. Rog just about makes it. Now up to the concrete. First drop down section for Rog. Jumps into it. Gets a save. Gets a second save, and Rog lands the second save. Now onto the second section. He's got caught on the first lip, and Rog gets bounced around and eliminated. And up next is Fireball ZXZ. This is his third appearance on the third stage. Actually has one of the best runs of all time, making it all the way to the Doom Gaps in a previous tournament. And in that tournament, Fireball finished runner-up to FreeMMO Direct. A 5-time runner-up on speed on both the stages today. How will Fireball go on stage 3? And he's gone off straight away. Fireball doesn't make the second jump, and that's his tournament over. And up next is Akira Area. His fourth appearance on the third stage. Twice he's gone out on Dangerous, and once he also got all the way to the Doom Gaps. Sakura Area has been deep into stage 3 before, and he's going to make lighter looking work of the first part of the Disaster Box than the other competitors thus far. Now Joey into that second set of ledges. Starts to climb back up once again. Gets himself unstuck from that lip. All the way to the top. Now onto the descent. First ledge. Second. Doesn't even need to save. Just straight to the dismount platform. And now Kiriaria onto the pointy path. Makes the second cone. To the third. Saves it. To the fourth. Straight to the fifth. Straight to the sixth. Saves it again. And Kiriaria beats the pointy path. Now onto dangerous. This has caught him out twice in the past. He's learned his lesson and beaten it last time he attempted it. Can he do it again today? Looking good, looking good. And Kiriaria skips the last two sections, makes it now onto the cliffhanger. Along the first pass of the cliffhanger, doubling back. Gaining height as the wall angles in against you. Kiriaria makes the big hop. Another big hop. Saves again. Now climbing again. Kiriaria straight to the barrels. Now another return onto the ledge. Walking along in against the angled backboard. Now going for the next barrel. Kiriaria makes it. And up again. Last barrel. Now he's going to line up to the barrier. Hops to the barrier. Second barrier. Big sprint. Next set of barrels. Saves it. Next barrel. Now a little bit of a corner wrap around the air vent. Up onto the top of it. Kiriaria now sprints for the last couple of ledges. Hops up. One more to go. And he beats the cliffhanger. Now onto the trustful. Kiriaria dives in, keeps it centralized, hops off the ledge, beats the obstacle. Now onto the globe grasp. First globe, second, save jumps. Third, save jumps again. To the fourth, and another save. Fifth, skips the sixth, and he's gonna get to the end and mount up the mongoose. So the first appearance of the French twist on stage 3. Kiriaria's beaten it 3 times in the past. Can he make it 4 today? He's beaten it as it was on stage 2. And he's hanging onto the side, makes the cross, but doesn't manage to get the grip, slides straight off the other side. Kiriaria is out, but a very good run and a good mark to beat as Fremo Direct looks for his 5th first place finish. This is his 6th appearance on stage 3, the most experienced competitor at this stage in the Elite Challenge history, and he's underway, climbing the disaster box. Up to the top for the first time, now the first descent, wasting no time. Not against the clock, but he feels comfortable moving fast. Now into the second section of the disaster box, second climbing section, to the third ledge, and the fourth, up to the top. Hops down the second descent. First ledge second, doesn't need a save jump, just like Joey before him. Now onto the pillar path. First cone, save jumps. To the second, saves again, making sure he's centralized. Goes for the third, another save. Trying to back up to give himself as much of a half step as possible to build momentum before the jump. And free, making progress. Lining it up. One more cone to go. Makes the jump. Makes the dismount. Lands it. And now free onto dangerous. Trying to psych himself up for the obstacle. He's beaten it before, knows how to do it. And free heads into the headbanger. Hopping his way along. Crosses to the opposite side. Trying to avoid that low beam in the center, and free across, beats the obstacle, now onto the cliffhanger. First ledge, second, third, completely skips the first ledge, but free quickly along the first pass, starts to climb, hopping along the second path, zigzagging up the wall, saves, hops up, hops across, now onto the barrels, free, keeping on making progress, now onto the ledge, across the middle, transferring from one end of the cliffhanger to the other, back to the barrels, makes the hop, free, climbing his way up the cliffhanger, now onto the barrier, big sprint, next barrel, lands it, now trying to hook it round the air vent, makes it up there as well. Free making a great progress. Now hops onto the final couple of ledges. And he's made it across to the final ledge, beats the obstacle. Now onto the trust ball. Taking a moment to compose himself. Free, dropping in. Again, keeping it centralized, hops off the ledge, now onto the globe grasp. This has beaten him before, way back on his first stage 3 appearance. And Free, hopping along the globes. 4th, save jump. Now to the 5th, now to the 6th. Dropping down towards the platform. Beats the obstacle, and now Free, mounting up. He's beaten the French twist 5 times before. Can he make it 6? Well, it's on its first appearance on stage 3. Taking a moment again to psych himself up. Has the luxury of no time limit and no time pressure, so can take it easy. And Free hops on the mongoose. Heads along. And onto the French twist. Taking it steady through the blue section. Makes it to the white. Free, keeping the pace down. Trying to get across, but he's hooked up again, just like Joey did. Free makes the cross. He's going to make progress, but he's slipped off. Dropped the wheel over the other side, and FreeMMO Direct's run ends here as well. A little bit further than Joey, and that now leaves the mark to beat for the final competitor standing. Sonic Fan, on his stage 3 debut, is now the final hope of this tournament for getting it through to a stage 4. All the pressure now on him. Defending first place finisher in the last tournament, never finished off of the podium. And Sonic, now greeted with stage 3 for his first time. Into the disaster box. Backing up against the wall, makes the hop to the next ledge. Sonic, 3rd ledge in his sights, makes that as well. Final pass of this first climbing section. Sonic makes the jump. Now onto the concrete divider. Down the other side. First ledge, save. 2nd, big save jump. Sonic, 2nd section. 2nd climbing section. 2nd ledge of the 2nd climbing section. Now onto the 3rd. Doesn't get hooked under the lip. Trying to back up against the wall. Sprints. Makes the jump. Now onto the final concrete divider. Drops down. First ledge. And just like Free and Joey, straight through. Now onto the pointy path. It's on the first cone. Lines up the 2nd. Makes the jump. Saves it. Now lining up the 2nd to the 3rd. Sonic Fan makes the jump. Almost slides over. 1 save, 2 save. Backing right up to get as much momentum as he can for the next jump. Sonic makes it as well. Lines up the next jump. Saves it. 2 more cones to go. And Sonic really making sure he's as far back as he can be. Inching it backwards so he can sprint forwards. And Sonic steps back to make a big leap forward. 1 more cone to go. Sonic lands it. Now for the dismount, and he makes it. Now onto Dangerous. Sonic Fan not looking at hitting his head, but he's going to go down the middle. He's actually going to use the low beam to keep hitting his head to force him back down onto the ledges. That's a good strategy there from Sonic. But he's gone for the dismount too early, and Sonic slips down. And that is all of our competitors defeated. 2 of them got as far as the French twist, with both Joey and Free getting here once again. Free getting slightly further than Joey though to take victory for the competitors in this tournament. But once again, the Elite Challenge has ended on the stage 3. Will we ever see a stage 4? Time to tune in next time for the Elite Challenge Tournament 14 to see if it can be done. Until then, goodbye.